Welcome back to the NASCAR Cup Series at Martinsville Speedway on FS1. Here are some of the storylines for today. The winner has started outside the top 10 the last 5 races, longest streak ever. Last 7 winners, all 30 years old or younger. There are 21 drivers in the field above age 30. The pass for the win has come in the last 30 laps here in the last 5 races, so stick around to the finish. We're ready to start. Let's get a word with our pole sitter.
Let's do it. Hey, Christopher Bell, Kevin and Clint up in the booth. Man, you laid in the weeds on us yesterday, told us you weren't going to get the pole, and now you're on the pole. You've got the best pit stall, the best starting spot. What's the plan for today to manage these tires and get that thing to the end in the same spot you start?
Yeah, Kevin, I'll tell you what, it sure is nice starting up here. I've never done it before. So, as you know, whenever you're in the teens, the 20s at the start of this race, it's just extremely hard to get in line and just take care of your tires. And I'm hopeful that starting up here, everyone behaves a little bit better, and we can see what this DeWalt Camry's got on the long run.
Well, we're looking forward to watching it. Good luck out there today.
Thank you, guys.
Christopher Bell, in his Joe Gibbs Toyota, has his first pole of 2025, and as he said, his first pole here. Chase Elliott is one of the favorites today, the 2020 Martinsville winner in a Hendrick Chevrolet alongside. Row number 2, 2 Hendrick Chevys, Alex Bowman, the 21 Martinsville winner, and Kyle Larson. It's the first time 3 Hendrick Motorsports drivers have started in the top 5 at Martinsville. Here's Regan Smith.
Mike, the Hendrick Motorsports numbers speak for themselves here at Martinsville. Nothing short of dominance, including last year when they finished first, second, and third in this race. I asked Vice President of Competition Chad Canals, what is it about Martinsville? Of course, he's responsible for 9 of their victories over their career as a company here at this racetrack, and he said it is just a level of excellence and an unspoken type of bond when it comes to this racetrack that everybody in the shop has and knows that they expect to be perfect when they come here. They still leave every time expecting just a little bit more. Alan Gustafson took it one step further. He said that it comes down to Jeff Gordon back in the 90s and how good he was here creating what they still carry through today. If somebody's going to win today, they are very likely going to have to go through a Hendrick Motorsports car.
Here we go. How about this row? 5-time winner Denny Hamlin on the inside. On his outside, 2-time short track winner Chris Buescher.
Row 4, we've got Joey Logano with 11 straight top 10 finishes at Martinsville, and fastest in practice yesterday, Bubba Wallace. Jamie?
That's right, Kevin, and Bubba Wallace is coming off his best finish of the year. At Homestead, he finished 3rd, and he comes to a place he absolutely loves. He already has 2 of those clocks from winning twice in the Truck Series. Yesterday, after he was fastest, he said, well, that's bad news for the competition. That's the kind of expectation that they have with this race car. They worked a little bit on that long run, making it better, but this team, they are rolling, and they're having fun doing it, Mike.
All right. Row number 5, Tyler Reddick on the inside. On his outside, I haven't heard this name all day in pre-race. Keep an eye on him, folks. 24, William Byron.
Row number 6, we have Chase Briscoe, who finished top 10 in 5 of the last 6 Martinsville races, and 2-time Martinsville winner Kyle Busch.
The rest of our lineup will be on the scoring pylon on the left of your screen. Let's bring in our crew chief, Larry McReynolds.
Mike, these drivers are going to be so busy at this half-mile short track today. Lap times just north of 20 seconds. They'll be working the throttle, working the steering. They'll be working heavy braking, getting in the corners. But believe it or not, they will be shifting up to 4 times a lap. Let's go to our Toyota Camry cutaway car, and let's look at what we call the no-lift shift. You're going to see the ECU on top of the dash, the electronic control unit. They preset a rev limiter there to 8,800 RPMs. Now, you've heard us talk about the 5-speed sequential shifter in the Gen 7 car, but here today at Martinsville, they'll be working between 3rd and 4th gear all day long. Now, when the driver picks the throttle up off the corner, he's in 3rd gear, and the RPM is going to be about 5,000. He'll hold the throttle wide open with a slight pre-load on the shifter. When the RPM gets to 8,800, it unloads the engine. Just for a second, the driver shifts to 4th without lifting the throttle. Now, getting a normal downshift, getting in the corner, you go to 3rd gear, you just flip the throttle. Guys, it may not sound like much, but it's worth some gain in lap time, but you have to be careful not to spin the tires on restarts.
Oh, it's a big-time gain, and basically what it's doing, right? You have to have load on those gears, and that load is what keeps it in gear. And as soon as it hits that rev limiter or you burp the gas, like Larry was just talking about. It takes the load off the gear, enabling it to shift. So when it hits that rev limiter, they're using that no lift shift, if you will, to take the load off the gear and put it in the next one.
Yeah, and you heard Larry mention it, the fact that these tires will start spinning. Sometimes the rear tires will almost hop up off of the corner, and as these tires wear out and that wheel spin goes up, you do not want to get that thing hung on the rev limiter, because the car will die and just stop. It'll take a second for it to get back going. So some are using no lift shift and some aren't.
So the weather at the start of the week for Sunday was horrible, but every day the forecast has improved, and now we're close to 80 degrees. The clouds are rolling in, and there may be thunderstorms tonight, but that's after this race finishes.
Well, so we might not see the wet weather tires, but these clouds will play a big role in this race today. As the sun comes out, it'll get hot and slick. As the clouds come up, it'll gain grip, and everybody's handling characteristics will change because of that.
So you see the stage lengths. You can run stage 1 and 2 without a pit stop, but that final stage, more than half the race, 220 laps. So Larry, what's today's race strategy, sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless?
Mike, there's big curbing on the inside of both ends of the racetrack and the turns. Stay off that curbing. It'll get you and someone running on the outside of you both in trouble. A late stage caution, maybe pit, flip the stage, and then you'll stay out at the stage break for track position. Stage 3 is 220 laps. Split it in half as far as pitting. Should it go caution free? I think in stage 3 though, Mike, you'll see strategy all over the place.
Thanks, Larry. We were allowed to sit in on Alex Bowman's team meeting this morning.
All right, we roll through it here. Stages 80, 180, 400. First couple stages we don't have to stop, so that'd be pretty straightforward. Can't expect things to go right all the time, especially at a place like Martinsville. So if it doesn't, the execution will be what sets us apart. So George's home track, we'll let him break it down for us.
But just like that clock we're taking home tonight, it's time to wind it up. Clockwork on 3. 1, 2, 3. Clockwork!
There's the pit crew for the 48, led by Blake Harris. Up on the roof, Kevin Hamlin, the spotter. Martinsville was built in 1947. NASCAR started in '49, racing here on dirt. In the mid-1950s, Burt Meyer's grandfather won the very first race on a paved Martinsville Speedway, and his grandson, third-generation racer Burt, is in this field today.
I love my gig up here, Kevin, but there's only a certain few racetracks that still get me. When these guys line up at Martinsville, I get jealous every single time. One of my favorite racetracks, the challenge of this place, there's nothing like it. My gosh, when you're out front, the clean air feels good. Mired in traffic is not so good.
No,
this place brings it everything at you and anything in between.
Well, on the other side of that fence, I wasn't very good here. So you were always the guy that was really good here, and I can't wait to see this all unfold today.
Christopher Bell, Chase Elliott, Toyota and Chevrolet will lead them off turn 4 to the green flag. And the Cookout 400 is underway at Martinsville.
Great jump by Christopher Bell. No contest getting into 1 and 2.
And all the talk about tire savings and what we need to do with our tires, right now you need to get everything that you can get from a track position standpoint. You're going to see him be able to run too wide for a little bit, but you're going to have to get to that bottom lane to be able to put yourself in a position to not lose as many spots as possible. And you'll see them all start to stack up as that bottom lane starts to fill in the holes.
I'm glad you said that, Kevin. When they do stack up, that's an opportunity to get on that outside. You might be able to get them as they stack up, getting into the corner. It accordions them, and you can keep the momentum on the outside.
First 3 single file. Here's the race for 4th, Toyota Chevrolet. Kyle Larson a little loose getting up off that corner. Going to drop in line behind Denny Hamlin.
And you see him, he almost let up a little bit up off the corner. He knew how important it was to get down on the bottom of that racetrack to not get hung on the outside. If you wait too long, they'll fill those holes. And every time you wait, those holes get further and further apart.
Riding on board Bubba Wallace, the Toyota Cam, trying to make the outside work, but Chris Buescher pulls ahead on the inside, and now Wallace has more company. Joey Logano to the inside in the 22.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. If that hole doesn't open up, as you see a little contact there up off the corner.
Halfback bottom.
Logano will get the spot from Wallace. That is 7th place. Bubba drops in behind him. More action right behind William Byron to the outside of the 45. See if he can get past Tyler Reddick here.
Yeah,
Byron's not going to go away easily
you
here.
saw Chase Briscoe right there trying to put that car in there. He thought twice about it, putting it in there 3 wide.
It put pressure on him, though. He really drove off in the corner, did a good job getting it woed up before he got in the door of the 24.
Byron hangs tough, gets a good launch off the outside. Pulls a full car length ahead of Reddick and seals the deal.
Yeah,
See, Reddick was not able to get up off the corner because he need that real estate in him. That 24 had him on the outside, pinched him off a little bit. He spun the tires. 24 drove off.
Yeah.
Now the first car on the outside, that's Kyle Busch back in 14th, challenging Josh Berry and Michael McDowell.
Yeah, and he's one of the very few cars left on the outside of this racetrack in that second lane.
It's going to come down. I mean, this is the traffic jam of Martinsville, and it's going to come down to the long run. We talked about the tire fall off, softer tire this year than what we had in the spring race last year. Look over, biggest movers on the board, guys. Well, he's only gained 2 spots. Not time. Really nowhere to go right now. Save your tires, settle in like we're watching these guys do. Let this long run prevail.
Yeah, and these first 20 laps of this run, you're going to see it more difficult to make up that track position and be able to put yourself in a position to take care of the car. The cars all handle really good for those first 20 laps. That's when we see 20, 25, 30 laps. You're going to see the difference in the cars start to eat up that right rear tire, and the cars start to fall off. They start to get loose in, tight in the middle, and loose off.
And what's going to show that the most is the rubber on the racetrack. As you're watching them come around their car, that concrete corner looks pretty good. Not a lot of rubber down, not much black in the corner. That will change, and it'll change in a hurry. I would say somewhere around lap 30.
Chase Briscoe on the outside of teammate Ty Gibbs. Josh Berry looking around from the inside, not able to gain ground here. See if Briscoe, nope, no pass there.
Yeah, and we noted it yesterday. We talked a lot about Josh Berry, his success in this 21 car as they've started the year. Notorious for his short track career. Won races right here in the late model stock cars at Martinsville, and we expect him to be a contender today as his short track pedigree is very, very high.
That's the Ford Performance Cam. Talked to Leonard Wood this morning. Of course, Wood Brothers just about 20 miles to the west of here in Stewart, Virginia. They're all really looking forward to next weekend, the throwback week at Darlington. That's going to be something to see. All right, Ryan Blaney started 32nd. He has gained 1 spot.
Well, that's what we talked about, and it'll come. The problem is, don't have a lot of insurance. You're clear back there in 32nd. When these leaders start catching the field, they start picking them up and putting them down pretty quick. So it starts forcing your hand to move some people out of the way and get going, Kevin.
Yeah, and as this field starts to have different variances of fall off and things that are happening from each car, that's when you're really going to start to see the passing. So that's why NASCAR went to this and Goodyear went to this softer tire to create some of that fall off, but they drive really good at the beginning.
You see that 14 laps in, it's already down to about a half a track before you're in the lap traffic. Doesn't take long.
Christopher Bell has the fastest lap of the race so far, 93.09 miles an hour.
And that rubber on the racetrack it's going to be a little bit different than yesterday. This track is very sensitive to the sun and the way that it lays rubber down. When it's overcast like it is right now, it takes a little bit longer for that rubber to get on the racetrack. So it'll be interesting to see what the fall off is today compared to the shining sun on the racetrack from yesterday.
Talking about fall off, Christopher Bell told us yesterday as it falls off, it gets looser, Kevin. I'm watching these cars, and I want to, per his point, these cars will start slipping and sliding around, and where it'll start showing is on the entrance of the corner.
Yeah, well, and that downshift makes it more difficult. You see Bubba Wallace shifting right there in the middle of the straightaway, and you see this downshift that he makes right there. Right now it looks pretty easy, but what'll happen is it'll start to get over on that right rear tire, and as you downshift, it almost makes it worse. So they'll start having to either get earlier with the downshift, but most likely they'll shift that downshift to being a little later to not induce that looseness into the car while it's shifting, because it's already loose naturally from a mechanical standpoint.
17 laps complete. Christopher Bell has led them all, and he's pulled away by about 4 car lengths from Chase Elliott and the rest of this field.
Well, his job's easy right now. He's out there putting down really fast laps. Only lost about 3/10 of a second, but when he catches these lap cars, he's got the 66 of Casey Mears on the same straightaway as him. That won't be the problem. It'll be when these cars are stacked up, in front of him that are trying to not go a lap down. That's when it becomes difficult and things start to get more physical.
This is going to be a challenging race. I mean, I'm already looking at it. We have all the hitters lined up at the front. You got Bell, you got Elliott, the 3 of the 4 Hendrick cars that we talked about. Logano's really good here. Wallace had a great run here. This is shaping up to be a fantastic race. Battle of the Giants.
20 green flag laps in. Christopher Bell has led them all ahead of Chase Elliott. Ooh, 34-2, banging and banging.
Have been.
It's like a switch flipped on the number 20 because Chase Elliott pounced, took advantage, moved to the inside, took the lead. After Bell led the first 23 laps of this race, Chase Elliott to the point.
Well,
got them on their feet. They like it.
That's exactly what we expected. You're going to see cars do that at different points. And now that Chase Elliott has the lead, he's put a little bit of a gap between he and Christopher Bell. So you don't really know as you see a little bit of sun start to pop out, like you said, down there on the end in 3 and 4.
Yeah, and down there in 3 and 4, I'm seeing rubber getting built up on the racetrack quite a bit. People starting to slip and slide around. The movement's coming, and the passes are coming. Those are opportunities. Speaking of opportunities, I still, we watched Elliott make the pass for the lead. His teammate Bowman, there he is right there, starting to inch closer to Bell.
Jamie, what about Christopher Bell?
Well, I talked to his crew chief, Adam Stevens, this morning, and their concern was the long run. They didn't really know what they had, if they were going to be good or not so good, but they went aggressive on the setups to try and help it. You see he got past there at about 26 laps in, but this has been a tough place for this team. Adam said, we're really good on short tracks, except Martinsville, so it's kind of up in the air what they need, and caution is out for debris.
Caution at 31 laps, debris up toward turn number 4.
Yeah, I see it right there on the outside where the asphalt and the concrete, there it is. It's like a brake duct or something, some sort of duct.
First caution flag of the day.
Yeah, and that changes everything up.
Sure does. That was not an expected caution.
80 laps, stage 1. That's the length of stage 1. So a pit stop would not be required, but well, here we are under caution. Reigning MVP Shohei Ohtani leads the defending champion Dodgers in a much-watched early season showdown. They'll play Bryce Harper and the Phils Saturday at 4 Eastern on FS1.
Heard a lot of these guys practicing pit road before the race. Radio chatter was that was too fast, speeding, probably have an adjustment there. I know we have that built in, but that being said, my point is, could see some speeding penalties here on pit road. Very important, very tricky pit road with the corners.
Pit road is open, and here comes almost everybody but Josh Berry. Regan.
Like Chase Elliott in the 9 car. A good break with his caution early on. Having a little bit of radio trouble hearing Chase. As for the race car, he said it's good. It's still neutral right now. No issues. In the 48 of Alex Bowman, very bad in practice yesterday, according to Blake Harris, the crew chief. Right now, he's been quiet on the radio. Jamie?
Denny Hamlin in the 11. All he's really said is the entry is a little bit edgy, a little too free for his liking. Air pressure adjustment there as they work the left side. You see on the right side, Kyle Larson is in the 20 car of Christopher Bell. Talked about coming down pit road. He wants those adjustments, Mike.
The pit stalls here begin in the middle of turn 4 and end near the exit of turn 2. It is a very tricky pit road. 33 laps complete. We're under caution. Some of the favorites here at Martinsville. 37 laps complete. We're under caution, and we've been watching the birds atop the light tower all weekend. There's a pair of them. They are Gertrude and Heathcliff. You guys just aren't old enough. My dad loved Red Skelton. He was a great comedian. He had a bit about these two seagulls, Gertrude and Heathcliff. Never mind.
There they are.
Yep.
They have been. They are probably not liking the... I don't know who Gertrude is, but he might not be liking this loud noise, but he shouldn't have built a house at a racetrack.
All right, 6 drivers stayed out, beginning with Josh Berry, who was 13th before the caution flag. the first 3 rows, well, 2.5 rows with Bell on the outside, all stayed out. 4 shifts per lap, 400 laps. You do the math. The drivers spoke about it.
Definitely demanding day. I think it's 1,600 shifts we'll have this weekend.
It's a lot of shifting. 2 up shifts, 2 down shifts. Just down and up. I mean, you're doing 4 shifts a lap, basically.
Honestly annoying to shift that many times during a race.
That's what the racetrack calls for, but it does get a little bit tiring.
It can make for a tough day for sure in the race car.
It's not bad. I mean, it's a lot of shifting, but it's a shift. I think it's fairly simple.
Tell you what shifted, guys, is the field. These guys staying out. What was it going to be? Close to 40 laps to go. It's going to be exciting right here. A lot of shaking up in the field here.
Well, and the one thing that tells me is they're really concerned with the way that these cars handled in traffic. This was always a really difficult track with the aero situation that these cars are in. So now we've got cars mixed up on different tires, so this is going to probably get physical.
Christopher Bell and Joey Logano each took 2 tires as we're back to green.
Well, there you go, right there, right off the bat. Cindric couldn't get going, spun the tires.
And one of those 6, Riley Herbst, also spun the tires, and it's a big mix-up headed for turn 3.
You're going to see these guys that stayed out on old tires really push hard here to try to get up front, put some positions in between them and the guys with tires coming, because you know they're going to be bearing down on you.
Yeah, and Riley Herbst in that top lane, that's really going to hurt that momentum of the top lane as you see Kyle Larson shove him out of the way.
3 wide there, coming off 2. Josh Berry on point, leading the first laps for the Wood brothers here at Martinsville since Hall of Famer Ricky Rudd in 2005.
Middle 3.
Boy, this still will not resolve. Still 3 wide.
Never what you want to hear at Martinsville, middle of 3. I want to be bottom of 3, Kevin. If we're going to be 3 wide, I want to be on the inside.
Yeah, you see that bottom lane stack up, and Riley
got in the wall.
In the wall right there.
And the cars with 4 new tires, all pressing. Looking back from Brad Keselowski, the BuildSubmarines.com cam, he was one of those that stayed out.
And they're all over him in the rear. You got Bell on the outside, Logano on the inside. He's got his elbows out, making his car as wide as possible.
Yeah, Josh Berry just ran his fastest lap, so that track position is doing his car good. But we've got a battle in the middle of this pack.
Look out.
Riley Herbst has now fallen back to the back of the field.
Well, and that's what
33rd.
happens. Yeah, you get the clean track position for these guys that were able to get singled out up in the front of the pack, and it takes a little bit of time for the tires to overcome the aero side of everything that's going on. So right now, these guys want to see them race side by side that are leading this race. Josh Berry, Cole Custer, Austin Cindric, and Ryan Blaney. They want those guys to get held up as long as possible to click as many laps off as they can.
Well, speaking of holding them up, and that's Keselowski in the 6 car. You saw Logano hit him in the rear end, and you got Bell on the outside holding up 2 wide of teammates on the behind him.
So 35 to go in the stage. The 22 and the 20 took 2 tires. The cars behind them took 4. Elliott and Hamlin had a little contact getting into 3 there, elbowing each other for racing room.
Logano was finally able to get the inside of Keselowski. He tried to squeeze him, doing the same thing to Bowman. Look out, they're into one another.
Oh, Brad and Bell get together.
And that's the risk that you take when you throw that block. The guy below you has to decide, all right, I'm going to let you in, or I'm going to leave my fender in here and knock him up the racetrack like he did right there.
I think that all started with Denny Hamlin fighting for and taking the bottom, and everybody else up a lane, and you saw the result.
And as a driver in Brad's position, you saw it with Riley Herbst, and now you're seeing it with Brad. It puts you in a position to where you have to put yourself in as much of the way as possible to keep as many behind you. But man, I always hated being on defense like this.
Oh, me too. And it's so hard. You can't find a hole. You're yelling at the spotter, give me a hole, let me get down, I need down, I need down, and the next one fills the hole, and so on and so forth. Very challenging.
William Byron way back in 31st after the caution flag and pit stops. Here's his radio.
That's pretty bad. So what do we got to the end of the stage?
I'll work our way forward.
figure out what something else plays in our way. The rest of it, long ways to recover.
Yeah, 10-4.
Not sure what happened.
Yep.
But he came into the pits ninth, Regan.
Well, Mike, what preceded that radio was actually trouble getting the right front tire off on the pit stop. That slowed the stop down. Unfortunately, with this many cars still on the lead lap right now early in the race, really a big penalty. You lose a lot of spots, but a long race left to make it up, as you see it on the bottom right there.
Speaking of losing spots, something sent Denny Hamlin way up the racetrack in turn 3.
Yeah, he about lost it getting into 3. I didn't see a car around him. I have to go back and take a look at that.
Hamlin falls to 10th. Larry tells us a 23-second pit stop on William Byron. Boy, the cars that did not take tires slip sliding around here, and so are some that did. Ryan Blaney, one of those trying to hang on, who used the caution to gain track position instead of tires. 52 laps complete, 28 to go in stage 1. Josh Berry and the Wood brothers out front. "19 laps to go in stage 1 of the Cookout 400 at Martinsville Speedway. There's the lead that Josh Berry has over Cole Custer from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Since 1925, the Goodyear blimp has been inspiring fans to keep looking up and keep driving forward. 3 Fords at the front of the field, Berry, Custer, and Logano. And there is Hall of Fame crew chief Leonard Wood, who's had a great time here this weekend. Talked to him Wednesday at the Hall of Fame nominating committee meeting, of which he was a part. Larry Mack?
Yeah, Mike, when I look at Josh Berry in that 21 car, obviously he's got clean air, but the one thing I like about that race car right now, he is using a lot less brake at both ends of the racetrack than Cole Custer in the 41, Joey Logano on the 22. And guys, you know, those tires love when you use less brake because they don't build as much heat, which can also create a lot more brake heat as well.
It certainly does. It helps you, keeps the temperature out of the tires. That's build up, brake temperature, and everything in between. And there's only one guy that has the affordability to do that, the leader.
Yeah, right now. Oh, as we see some contact right there between the 12 and the 2. Bubba Wallace going to take advantage and get past both of them.
Jamie?
Yeah, and you're looking at Ryan Blaney. They showed up here. Remember, he won here in the fall, so they expected to be good. But Jonathan Hassler, his crew chief, told me, you cannot run the same car in the same setup. You have to keep evolving, and that's exactly what they did as a team. All three of the Penske cars had a different setup here. Obviously, the 12 car didn't hit it right. Ryan didn't like the balance. He didn't like it on the long run, so they went back on some of those adjustments. So far today, obviously, they got the track position by staying out, but he said he just cannot roll the bottom like he wants to. He's having to park it at both ends of the track to get it to rotate.
Thanks, Jamie.
And
that's time to work on it, though.
And that's a very common trait with this car. When you get all the race cars on the racetrack and they get nose to tail like that, the front end just does not turn in the middle of the corner. So that's going to be something that you're going to fight all day if you're going to be in traffic.
Well, and the other thing that's hard, all right, so we're going to go to work on that. We're going to free you up in the middle of the corner and help that front end turn. Now you start getting loose in. Now you got two problems. Very tricky about this place. Don't let the car get too disconnected.
Tyler Reddick trying to move up on Austin Cindric here. This race for 9th place. And Austin Dillon right there trying to get himself a stage point. 12 laps to go in stage 1.
Yep. Another problematic situation with tight in the middle is loose off. The thing is eventually going to catch up, snap over there in the 3/4 mark of the corners, and then now you're chasing it on the throttle level in the exit of the corner.
So Reddick to 9th and Dillon to 10th.
Yeah, that 3 car has been really good. Not something that is abnormal here at Martinsville. Had some really good runs here in the past.
I'll tell you, a car that struggled is a car that was our leader, our pole sitter, Christopher Bell, has definitely struggled to make passes and get up through the field like some of the other cars that were up there.
Back to 13th now and out of the stage points. 10 laps to go, stage 1. There's a look at our pole sitter.
To go right in front of him is Blaney. That car was 30th. 30th. This is a huge gain, and caution is out. I see it.
Front straightaway,
17.
around goes Chris Buescher. He had been in quite a battle with a couple of cars, notably Zane Smith. Not sure if this was the result of pretty far down the straightaway to be just a spin. I'm guessing there might have been contact involved, as the Allegra cam shows Buescher getting turned around here. He was 24th as we have our second caution of the day at lap 71. Casey Mears will get the free pass. He's the only car a lap down. Mears making his 490th career start in Carl Long's car. And there's the contact from Carson Hocevar.
Not clear.
No. No. Larry, think we'll get back to green here before the stage ends?
It's going to be a very short run. So do you want to stay out and score stage points? I think the majority of the field, especially from on back, maybe like 10th on back, they pit here, they flip the stage, and then stay out at the stage end.
Always a tough spot to be in when you're up in the front and want those stage points. But you know if you don't pit, you're going to get buried with track position by the guys that just sit back there and save tires. So here they all come. Well, a lot of them.
Oh, Logano had the fake there and stayed out, along with Bowman and Buescher, of course. Keselowski is still out there. He's not pitted today. Regan.
Cole Custer in the 41 car doing a very nice job on those older tires to maintain track position. Just a little bit too tight with the nose of the race car, meaning it's not turning as well as he wants to, causing it to lose a little forward drive off. Jamie?
Yes, and Josh Berry and the 21 team did a really nice job on those old tires there as well, saying just a little bit tight in the middle, so they take 4 tires here, a little air pressure adjustment as they go to work on the left side.
Big traffic jam. Josh Berry trying to get out of his pit. There were about 4 of them all trying to cram into one spot. Under caution for the second time today. Slam bang, yeah, Martinsville.
middle of the...
In the oh no department, here comes Bubba Wallace out of his pit, slam into the left side of Josh Berry. Caught him right in the left side of the door, just outside where the battery is located. And Berry never made it past turn 2. The car came to a stop, dead stick. The car shut off. He said the dash was black, and the track wrecker pushed him around to his pit where the Wood brothers are trying to do emergency rescue work here.
Doesn't matter, we're going green.
Joey Logano up front, along with Alex Bowman, Brad Keselowski, who's not been to pit road today, and A.J. Allmendinger. What a new group this is up front with Nemechek and Preece, Hamlin, and Jones.
2 laps to go, coming to the end of this stage. So these guys up front decided that they wanted points and stayed out.
And Josh Berry did finally get going. Austin Dillon says he has lost first gear. And Ricky Stenhouse, too fast entering, had to restart in the back. Here we go, 3 wide. How's this going to work out?
Thought about 4 wide.
Coming around to complete the stage, Joey Logano is going to win this stage from Bowman, Allmendinger, Keselowski, and Eric Jones. Well, that was eventful.
Yes, it was.
Second stage win of the season for Joey Logano, and his first since stage 1 in Daytona. Round 1 of the college basketball crown starts tomorrow on FS1. Utah Butler at 3 Eastern. George Washington, Boise State at 5:30. Nebraska, Arizona State at 8:30. And Georgetown, Washington State at 11. It's the college basketball crown tomorrow on FS1. Boogity boogity.
You think that's what Darrell's doing right now, taking a nap?
Not yet.
No, he's doing boogity boogity.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
So Joey Logano got the stage points. He is piling them up. Penske now with 5 stage wins in stage 1 and 2. 15 top 5s in the stages, a lot of laps led, but look at the race results. No wins, only 1 top 5, and that average finish in the trunk, as they say.
Well, we're staying down that trend. It's exactly what we just saw again.
Logano had the 5th most stage points entering today. And Brad Keselowski, who was 4th, got his first stage points since stage 1 at Daytona.
He earned that one. I mean, he had him on both sides of him and elbows out, making that car wide.
I think he's the only car that ran the whole stage without stopping on either caution. I believe Chris Buescher will get the free pass as pit road opens, and here they come. Not so many, about 5 cars. Regan?
Mike, you just mentioned it right there. Much needed stage points for Brad Keselowski. The team was very pleased about that. Told him that he needs to be freer for laps 60 to 80 through the runs if we get more, or if we get any long runs. That's what they're going to work on with him. And then 16 of AJ Allmendinger having another good run this week. He's having to drive through the front tires to get it to turn, though. Jamie?
And the 22 of Joey Logano, he had taken those right side tires, just said he's tight firing up, wants a little bit of an adjustment, air pressure as well. This team has finished worse than they qualified in every race this year. Trying to change that today. He's happy with the car.
Josh Berry heads off pit road ahead of Logano. Berry's now led the most laps for a Wood Brothers car at Martinsville since David Pearson in the spring of 1973, their last victory here. Joey Logano, stage 1 winner, but now he's going to restart out back after this pit stop.
Live with Jamie McMurray, Chris Myers, a stage break, and a break for the hot dog stand. We're watching the race, taking notes, but in line is everybody here at the world-famous hot dog stand. Sir, how good are these hot dogs?
Man, I'm gonna tell you one thing. When you come to Martinsville, the Martinsville hot dogs are good. You might not get one, you might get three.
It looks like you've had a few. How many?
Yeah, I done had three already.
Okay, well, good. You enjoy. How do you
Listen, you either get it plain or you get it all the way. All the way is what I've got. What do you have?
I ordered a
You're
plain,
gonna have to open that
all the way. So.
Oh yeah.
But what's amazing, it's NASCAR's oldest track, and these are the oldest hot dogs. Jamie's enjoying it.
They're pretty good.
And they sell over 70,000 each weekend, and they've been around for over 70 years. Just part of the tradition here. Mike, back to you guys.
Yeah, Chris, and they're only two. Go ahead, Jamie.
Chris isn't going to eat it.
I was going to say,
it was just a prop.
The only
He's not
tradition
eating
I see is Chris belling out on eating that hot dog.
Come on, Myers.
I like.
Go for it.
I've not seen him pass
Come
up
on,
a meal.
Chris.
Take a bite. Do it.
Oh, that's loaded. Slaw.
Who eats a hot dog sideways? What was that?
You get slaw, onions, and chili on it for $2. I mean, it's like a trip to Costco. Well, back to the race. Now, Austin Cindric came pit side, apparently having power issues similar to Josh Berry. That's a battery connector there on top of that big black box. So same song, second verse.
And you see it right there in his hand. That's the exact same thing that they're changing in that Penske.
That is a battery they just changed out right there in both those cars.
Thanks, Larry. So Josh Berry now 2 laps down. Cindric tail into the lead lap up front. Here comes teammates Bowman and Elliott to lead us back to green. John Hunter Nemechek up there with Denny Hamlin, Cole Custer, Kyle Larson, Bubba Wallace.
Well, one thing that we've noticed so far with the way that these guys have stayed out, these red tires, when they cool off, they fire off fairly decent to be able to maintain some sort of track position like the 48 is doing right now.
Now, the driver who won the stage, Joey Logano, was the first of the cars that pitted under that caution. He restarts 26th.
Well, that's the risk that you take when you don't pit with the whole field, and then the whole field decides that you're going to have to come to pit road, and you don't. You get the stage points, but now you lose all the track position.
Bubba Wallace inside Cole Custer, and the battle for second. Denny Hamlin, one of NASCAR's short track best, coming to the front. Second place for Hamlin. Now Alex Bowman in third and John Hunter Nemechek trying to hold on to fifth. They have not been to pit road since lap 33. So that's 63 laps ago.
Well, the way that this race has gone at the beginning is not what anybody expected. There's never been a green flag in a Gen 7 race during this spring race. So we're already twisted up compared to what we've seen in the past here. So if we get a long run, I'll be really interested. You already see the 48 faded to fourth, and you see the 42 right there on the outside of Bubba Wallace. So he's got a whole line of cars on the inside of him now. So it's going to be interesting to see what this strategy shakes out to be.
Make sure brake fans where you need them. Clear by 3 out back.
Ty Gibbs to the inside of Nemechek on those worn tires. Cole Custer following up through, and then our pole sitter Christopher Bell in the 20.
Yeah, and you see that 54 and the year that they've had right now, that you see him running, let's see, 6th right here. So really fast yesterday in practice, had a good car on the long run. Now he's got the track position to go with everything that he's been doing. The things that they have done on pit road, they've had good pit stops, they've dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's so far. So now you got the track position to go along with everything else.
And he's going to have his teammate Chase Briscoe right behind him, and then Tyler Reddick. There's the Toyota cam for Briscoe.
Still at your door. Still outside. You're clear.
37 cars on the lead lap. The only car a lap down is Josh Berry, and he's down 2 due to that battery replacement. Bubba has a look inside Bowman, and he's got room. Going to come off the corner with 4th place. And then on the right, Reddick fighting for 10th, taking it. And there's Michael McDowell promoting the Easter weekend race at Rockingham on his 71. With Ross Chastain following right up through, and tough to beat John Hunter Nemechek in this situation. You've got worn tires. The best you can do is hang on.
Yeah, and really that's all you can do. And I hate racing like that. I hate being on defense, but sometimes you have to mix things up in order to put yourself in a position. But if this goes on a long run, you're going to see them continue to fade.
Ty Gibbs up past Bowman for 5th here.
Tough to start the season the way that those guys have started it, and as you see John Hunter getting passed by the 4 car on the outside, and sometimes I think that's a better strategy, to be able to just let the guy go on the outside of you so you don't get that whole line of cars in case you wind up with a hole. You could make some better lap time, but still bleeding positions.
So the 42 was 33rd when they chose this strategy. We'll see how it plays out here as he's back at 16th, well, 17th as Suarez works his way around to the outside.
Well, as they better be careful not to be the caution. He is really struggling to keep speed here. They're passing him on the inside, the outside. They've had him sideways and everything in between. Here comes another one, Haley, to the inside.
And the question that I would ask Larry, do you think that they're going to try to split this stage with as bad as they're running?
Kevin, that would be a stretch. This is a really short stage, and you and I both know you make a green flag pit stop, you're going to go 2 laps down. I just think this is too short of a stage to do that. 3rd stage, yes, just not sure about this stage.
Ty Dillon to the inside in the 10, moving Nemechek back to 19th, and there's Joey Logano in 20th. Remember, he started back about 27th after being the first car to pit road at the end of stage 1. And so here come the cars with fresh tires.
And that's Nemechek on the outside, and they're just stacked up all around him. Just very tricky to try to navigate around that car. Obviously down on tires. Look how bad they're stacked up behind him trying. As one gets stacked up, it gives you an opportunity to make a run on them. Patience is a virtue right here.
Byron, Dillon, Hocevar all lined up to move to the inside, and now they've kicked Nemechek out of the top 20. Joey Logano up 8 since the restart. Ty Gibbs up 5 into the top 5.
See the 41 car of Cole Custer there on the inside of Alex Bowman. We talked yesterday during the qualifying show just how good the Stewart-Haas cars have been at Martinsville over the past years, and now you've got the Haas factory team with Cole driving the car, single car team, and that success and everything that they've done in the past seems to be bleeding over to Martinsville with the performance of that car.
All right, let's move up to 2nd place in Denny Hamlin. Jamie?
Yeah, I've been watching what Denny Hamlin is doing. They unloaded this week, and they really liked the pace of this car. They really like this new tire, this softer tire they unveiled here in the fall. That plays into Denny's hands. They made some adjustments, says the drive-off isn't great, but guys, we always talk about Denny Hamlin being so good here. He's won here 5 times, but Mike, it's hard to believe it's been 10 years since Denny Hamlin took home a clock. Perhaps he changes that today.
Well, Jamie, you're right. He told us in the pre-race that came with a different setup. He was tired of running 2nd, 3rd place. Kevin, he told us he felt like that's all the better he was as a 2nd or 3rd place car. Came with a different setup and a new vision, new outlook.
Hey, bumper cars. Eric Jones. Boy, he and A.J. Allmendinger have been going at it. A lap and a half ago, Jones gave Allmendinger the boot going into turn number 3. Back down in turn 1, and Allmendinger repays the favor, and it was more than bumper tag. It sent him up a lane. Watch this.
Oh, man.
Looks a little like last night's Xfinity Series dumpster fire.
It wasn't that bad, but
not quite.
You could definitely tell they were not happy. You knew something happened there. Eric Jones just doesn't nail you in the rear like that. I mean, he came from nowhere. Hit him hard.
And that's how hard they fight here for 27th place. Chase Elliott leads at Martinsville. Coming up, a full weekend of football, and it starts with Fox UFL Friday when the Birmingham Stallions take on the Michigan Panthers at 8 Eastern. Next Sunday, 6:30, the San Antonio Brahmas take on the St. Louis Battlehawks. That's the United Football League on Fox and FS1 next weekend. We are under caution. Burt Myers' car coming down the front straightaway lost fire and coasted to a halt there. You saw he was trying to turn into the garage area. Couldn't quite make it. They will push the number 50 to pit road. That is the fourth caution flag of the day. Casey Mears should get the free pass here. Larry, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, Mike, everybody's got at least 30 to 35 laps on their tires. We're going to go back racing with probably close to 50 laps left in this stage. So this may be a good time to see everybody hit pit road and get those 4 fresh tires. That caution was John Hunter Nemechek in the 42 cars best friend.
Yeah, he is 29th right now as the caution flies. Chase Elliott has led only 2 laps this season before today. He's now been out front for 41, one more than Josh Berry. They are the biggest lap leaders here so far.
Nemechek wasn't the only one on the brink there. You had Busher. Look back there. Josh Berry, Van Gisbergen, Cindric, and Keselowski. Those guys were really starting to ratchet up the battle to stay on that lead lap. Try to put some distance between them and that guy right there, your leader.
Well, that guy right there, he's been bussing all day. It's fun to watch him drive this racetrack, and the way that his style is sliding up the racetrack and the drive up off the corner. We saw it at Bowman Gray. Seems to be the same thing again today.
Now, a couple drivers in the top half dozen, Ty Gibbs and Cole Custer, are each looking for their first top 10 finish of the year, and they are going to stay out along with Bubba Wallace, and Denny Hamlin will be the new race leader as most of the lead lap cars come to pit road in front of Regan.
Mike, the 9 car, Chase Elliott, deciding to pit right here. Told crew chief Alan Gustafson that the car really has not changed all day, even with the rubber on the track, just a little bit tight on the 9 car. Jamie?
And the 5 of Kyle Larson decided to come in, making his 150th start for Hendrick Motorsports. Just told Cliff Daniels, his crew chief, I feel like my car is really good. He's down and away.
Alex Bowman had a stutter and a stop coming out of his pit.
Yeah, that was weird. I was watching the same thing, Mike. It took off.
Well, there was a car, Shane Van Gisbergen, coming into pit, and Bowman stuttered, but then got going. And so no contact.
Got turned around.
No collision. If you want to see who's ready for Augusta, the biggest names in golf are on Fox. They're all teeing it up at Live Golf in Miami. It starts Friday. Only on Fox, continues on FS1 and Fox through the weekend. Here at Martinsville Speedway, varying strategies. Some pitted, some didn't, as we are halfway through stage number 2. 50 laps to go as you look at all these in-car views. They line up on the back straightaway to get ready to restart with Denny Hamlin and Bubba Wallace up front. And here's the battery change on the Wood Brothers car.
That'll make for a long day for Josh Berry, having to run all those switches off. It'll be hot in that thing.
So the top 5 stayed out. Larson and Briscoe got 2 tires. Chase Elliott got 4. Chastain and Logano each got 2 tires. That's your top 10 as we go back to green. Denny Hamlin top 5 in the last 5 races here, and you can see why. Just the way he wraps that corner and got away from the field.
Well, he's just so good at everything that happens here at Martinsville. He's a great short track racer. Been a while since he's been to victory lane here. And as we mentioned earlier in the show, talked about bringing a different setup to the racetrack. They knew that they needed to get better. A lot of learning going on for the end of the year. This race holds such an important spot in the championship and being the cutoff race before you go to the last race.
Yeah, but I think it eats on him too, right? I mean, this guy dominated this track. This was by far one of his better tracks. You knew when you came to Martinsville you had to outrun Denny Hamlin. That was with the old car.
Look at this in turn 4. Chase Elliott was the meat in the sandwich all the way down the backstretch and all the way around turns 3 and 4. But they made it with minimal, if any, contact. Now Logano caught in the middle as Cole Custer is backing up. Reddick muscles his way in there. McDowell right behind him.
Yeah, and Cole Custer, he's been shuffled to the outside, and he's just trying to hang on to find somewhere to get down, at least into the second group. But up the racetrack he goes again off the front bumper, Michael McDowell.
Zane Smith thought about making it 4 wide into turn 3. And I'm glad he thought better of it.
Well, when it gets jumbled up like this and you have those opportunities to take them 3 wide or gain 1 spot. I mean, it's so important to take advantage of that. So you have to be aggressive. You have to put the nose of that car in there when you have the opportunity to make up a position.
You don't see Ricky Stenhouse because he had another speeding penalty, his second of the day, restarted out back. Denny Hamlin's just run the fastest lap of this race, 93.66 miles an hour.
And just following up on that from earlier in the race, these tires fire up really well after they cool off, and that is just another reason to believe that they're going to fire off all night.
Logano on the outside 11th, working his way back up through. And contact there with his teammate Ryan Blaney. Play nice, boys.
Well, it becomes difficult to be able to finish the pass on the car, and the guys on the outside, like Clint mentioned earlier, they want to get to that right front fender to let you not finish the corner. But what happens in these Gen 7 cars, when you make contact with the right front, it instantly wants to snap the car around. So you can defend that inside car pretty well if you get aggressive with it.
Boy, toward the back where Kyle Busch is, a lot of bump and thump, and a good bit of it involves Riley Herbst and Brad Keselowski right there. And there's Cole Custer in a tough spot.
I got to make it work here. We're pinned.
Busch to the inside. And Josh Berry coming, even though Berry's 2 laps down.
And that's frustrating. Having a great race car like Josh Berry had, just drove off in that first stage and was able to really showcase that. But see some contact right there with the 20 car and the 99, and car in front of them we hadn't mentioned very much. Ross Chastain running P5 there. I don't even know where he came from. He must have had a great restart right there.
Good crossover by Elliott, making quick work of Suarez. Bell got him up out of the groove. He crossed over and was ready for it. That's textbook Martinsville racing. You don't always have to be the aggressor. If somebody else wants to lay the bumper to him, go ahead and let him do it. Just be close enough to him that you can go right there with him.
Denny Hamlin has the Xfinity fastest lap so far. And there you see it. That was crude. But there's the stopwatch. Regan.
Like you mentioned a little bit earlier, how good of a day Ty Gibbs is having right now. Car just a little bit too tight as the rubber goes down on the track for him. But another issue inside that race car, having trouble with the cool suit. That's the suit that cycles water through the car. So if he's going to continue this good day, may have to gut it out as we get further into this race and it gets hotter and hotter in those race cars. Same issue also for the 2-car of Austin Cindric, who made a second pit stop on that last cycle of pit stops to remove the water out of his cool suit. Of course, the battery issue, he had to turn his off.
Wow. 35 to go here in the stage.
And that's what happens. That cool suit starts pumping hot water, and then it fills your your shirt up with that hot water and you unplug it, but at that point it's already hot. And that's why they took it all out of Austin's suit. So Ty's not in that position yet.
Look at the back bumper of that car.
Cindric, the Allegra cam from Chris Buescher, working inside of Cody Ware. All these are lead lap cars.
So much different when you're able to race in the front and do the things that Denny Hamlin is doing right now, into a rhythm. Him, Bubba Wallace, Ty Gibbs, Chase Briscoe, all those guys that are single file. And then you look as you get towards the back of the pack, it's always such a busier day in the back of the field because you're always side by side. You're running into somebody, somebody's running into you. Way better up here, Clint.
Well, the way, yeah, absolutely. That's where you want to be, and that's where Toyota is right now. But the way this race is playing out with these cautions coming out here, there, everywhere, it's really shaking this race up. Can't get a good definitive answer on who has a good car yet because we haven't quite seen that long run that we need to see to get a good gauge on it.
Denny Hamlin, Bubba Wallace, Ty Gibbs, Chase Briscoe, 4 Toyotas out in front at Martinsville. .23 laps to go in stage 2 of the Cookout 400 at Martinsville Speedway. Denny Hamlin in the lead. Bubba Wallace 1.7 seconds back. There is a look at the gap from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Best seat in the house since 1925. Happy 100 to the Goodyear blimp. 3 drivers reporting cool suit issues. Austin Cindric, Eric Jones, Ty Gibbs, all having trouble with their driver cooling today. Clint.
Yeah, the track, you can see it really starting to rubber up down here. I was watching off of 4. You can see this groove right here where the right sides are going. They're starting to navigate around it. Kevin, I heard you talk about that patch on the outside. This patch, it starts to become grip as they navigate around that and go to the outside. You slide across there with no front tires. You hit that patch and it wants to turn. The more rubber gets built up, the more they move around. Whoa!
Too far.
Larry, Alex Bowman had that little stutter stop on pit road, and then you said he came back in. What for?
Well, first, the stutter stop was good because they told him to stop because the 88 was coming in, but he had to come back to pit road because they had a loose left side tire.
Talk about good. This 9 car is hitting on all 8 cylinders right now. Very fast, picking them up and putting them down, making passes, moving around. He told us in a pre-race about his, he kind of diamonds the corner, Kevin, and his driving style around Martinsville. We saw it at the clash that you spoke of in Bowman Gray Stadium. I think it really helps him on a long run with the forward drive and carry momentum around this racetrack.
Well, you saw him right there with a really high entry. Now he's going to have to go under the 50 car right next to the curb, wrap the curb. But he had a really high entry on the other end and kind of cut across the middle of the corner, which tells me, see if he does it again here. Right back to the bottom of the racetrack. Must have just done that for traffic. But as these guys go through this rubber, they'll start moving around. You see the car behind him, Ty Gibbs, moving around the racetrack as you see him diamond the corner. He's probably had the biggest diamond, but Chase Elliott, I think he has the best car right
When
now.
I heard you tell me he was moving on the outside, opening his entrance up and diamond across, that guy right there, ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Gordon, nobody did it better at Martinsville than moving around and finding grip and finding ways to pass that car in front of you. You know what box he's sitting on today? That 9 car.
William Byron, Joey Logano. This is for 12th place right here. Larry Mack?
Yeah, William Byron has been screaming to Rudy Fugle about just how tight that race car is, and they've definitely been working with him, trying to get him to move the line around. To you guys, the point you're made, the way the rubber's starting to come into that concrete corner now.
You're dead in the water when you're tied at Martinsville. You can't carry momentum. You can't get off the brake and let the car work. You can't pick up the gas because it hasn't rotated around. You're going to have to get that thing freed up. Needs a pit stop, but you're right. Goes back to what Bell told us yesterday after practice. The cars free up as a run goes, so maybe, just maybe, that plays in his role as this run plays out.
Yeah, and as we watch Austin and Ty Dillon right here, the problem is, Clint, this Gen 7 car through the center of the corner is always naturally kind of tight here, and especially when you're in traffic. So what happens when you start talking to the crew chief about freeing that car up, a lot of times what will happen is it'll start getting loose on the entry. It'll start getting loose on the exit, and it'll affect the entry and exit more than it will the center of the corner. So always a tricky balance that, honestly, I was never very good at.
Now, Denny Hamlin has now caught lead lap cars. First of those will be Ricky Stenhouse, and as you talked earlier, these cars will be a little harder to put one lap down. They're all trying to stay on the lead lap.
And you see Denny Hamlin, he'll start working that high groove to try to cut across like we were talking with Chase Elliott. He'll start working up the racetrack right here, diamond the corner, and then cut the car down next to the curb to try to get the drive off to get position.
And this may take something out of his lead, which was 1.7 seconds when he caught Stenhouse.
Again, those first 2 cars have older tires when you look at Denny Hamlin and Bubba Wallace, and Chase Elliott's now really starting to shine on that fresher tire advantage.
I mean, you can see him, and you're exactly right. He was 3/10 faster than last lap. He was catching him very fast.
And you see him right there, enter really high, cut back across the bottom all the way back to that curb. That's what Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, the guys that typically have success here, can move around and do the things that they need to do with their car.
Coming to 8 to go in stage 2. And that lead was 1.7. It's now down to 1 second.
I'll tell you what, I cannot believe I just heard you say 8 to go in stage 2 already. This race is flying by.
And you see Denny up there still struggling, trying to get by Ricky Stenhouse, and Stenhouse wants to hold him up as long as he can to try to keep him from getting to the next car to put them a lap down. He wants to fight as hard as he can to try to stay in that lucky dog position. So makes it tougher on the leader than usually the 2nd and 3rd place cars.
Well, the cars that Hamlin is trying to lap, they have 50 lap newer tires than he does.
That's the textbook line that we were talking about with Chase Elliott. Entering high, crossing over. Watch him set up Bubba Wallace here. Gonna try him on the inside now, but I think Bubba kind of moved up and saw what he was doing. Got underneath of him. Here we go. Pass for second.
I was talking with Bubba yesterday We did an interview with him. So interesting to hear the comments that he has about the guys that he raced with. Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Bubba Wallace, so many of the Kyle Larson, so many of these guys came up at the exact same time, and here they are still battling out on Sundays in a Cup car.
Wallace on those worn tires slipped up the racetrack. Hamlin, Wallace, and Gibbs were last on pit road at lap 73, along with Daniel Suarez. Everybody else has 50 lap fresher tires than they do as they try to hang on for 4 more laps to the end of stage 2 here.
This is always the tricky part about being the leader. We've seen Denny catch the 47 car, go by him, and now he's got cars that are nose to tail. Never an easy pass here when you're trying to put a car lap down as the leader.
Starter working the blue flag with the yellow stripe. It's not a move over flag. It means there's a faster car behind you. Be alert, be aware.
Yeah, and look at that, 2,500 laps led. That just goes to show you just how much Denny Hamlin and how much success that he's had at this particular racetrack.
2 to go in this second stage. And Cody Ware fighting to stay on the tail end of the lead lap, so he won't have to take the wave around, and we'll leave that for Ricky Stenhouse here. Final lap.
Chase has made up a ton of time on Denny being held up by the 51 car, but it's not going to matter. Denny's going to get this stage win.
Hamlin off turn 4. Cody Ware is going to manage to stay on the lead lap, and Denny Hamlin wins stage 2. Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace, Ty Gibbs, Chase Briscoe, Tyler Reddick gets the final stage point. It's Denny Hamlin's 8th stage win at Martinsville, which tops all drivers.
Nobody starts telling these kids at 12 and 13, respect. Respect your equipment, respect that other driver, and respect his ability. You know what I mean? Because if you race him that way, he's going to race you that way.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It has snowballed to where that noise just gets louder every year.
Yeah.
People think it's okay to dive into the last corner and take somebody out. People think it's okay to make it 6 wide where it should be 2 wide. You know,
Right.
People think it's okay. and they think the fans love it and they think it's okay, but it's not okay.
Now that was Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour presented by Echo Park Automotive before this weekend. Kyle Petty making those comments. Then we had Friday's truck race here, and then we had Saturday's Xfinity race, caution after caution after caution. And right at the end, we'll see this. Tanner Gray, Sammy Smith coming from 3 car lengths back to dump Tanner Gray. And then half the field piles up behind him as a result. Austin Hill steals the win and the $100,000 dash for cash. But look at the pileup. Harsh words afterwards, and probably more to come, because Sammy Smith, not only did he not apologize, he tried to justify what he did.
Well,
he tried.
Yeah, he tried to justify it, but you know, it's definitely not what we all want to watch, and not the racing that we were brought up in. So it would have been better to just make the call on the spot than wait, you know, to penalize a move like that. So it's unfortunate that we had to watch all that.
Well, I'm sorry. I said the Xfinity Series was a dumpster fire. It's not. A dumpster fire is contained, and that series is not right now. So this morning, NASCAR Director of Competition Elton Sawyer said in the drivers' meeting, he referenced those 2 races, and he said the key word in the tower today is going to be respect.
Yeah, but even Kyle Petty, you're not wrong, right? Respect. What does that mean? All right, these kids, it isn't wrong. Usually it works, right? And you get to pass me. There's no consequences is what I'm trying to say. That needs to be a penalty. If it's that blatant and that outlandish, that is a simple answer to me. He should have been launched at least the last position on scored, right, for the race. At least, bare minimum. That was such an easy answer, and it's something that they're going to have to step in on. But just to say respect is going to fix it, well, then they need to get out of the way with those security guys and let those guys learn about respect.
He was talking about today's race and today's drivers who are entering pit road. Pit road's open. Tuesday is penalty day in NASCAR, and we'll all be paying very close attention. Regan.
Ty Gibbs in the 54 car, too loose off of the corners right now, but extremely tight center is the primary problem. Asking for water already as well, and Chase Elliott in the 9 car. Car took a step tighter that run, about 25% tighter than it was the previous run, and doesn't want to hurt rear security, Jamie.
Denny Hamlin and Bubba Wallace both pitted on lap 73. That was a long run for them. The 11, Denny pretty happy with it. A little bit loose. No issues in the center, though. Bubba Wallace feels like that car is on top of the racetrack, specifically the left rear. Air pressure adjustment for him. Great stop for the 11 bunch.
Thanks, Jamie. Tough call for Cole Custer. He was blocked from getting into his pit, had to stop after Alex Bowman's pit, and then back up to get serviced. So he will be at the back. We're at the end of stage 2, where Denny Hamlin has scored the stage win at Martinsville.
Next week, NASCAR returns to Darlington to celebrate Throwback Weekend. Coverage kicks off Saturday with Xfinity practice and qualifying at 10 a.m. Eastern on the CW app.
Here in Martinsville, which of the driver, who has the best dog in it to finish this race in the final stage after Denny Hamlin took stage 2 with Jamie McMurray, Chris Myers enjoying the race, and hope you are. Denny Hamlin told us on the pre-race show this season he hasn't quite had the winning car, but he said they were on the cusp. Could this be the race for the Virginia native? Let's do a quick recap here. William Byron, who's the only driver to lead in every race this year, has not led today, had a slow pit stop, and that cost him. Chris Buescher, RFK, the problems continue here on lap 71 in a spin. And then Josh Berry, who led 40 laps, gets into Bubba Wallace as they collide on pit road. Berry later had a battery issue, could have been caused by the incident when a lap down. Joey Logano led 13 laps, took stage 1, stage 2 belonged to Hamlin, who has led the most laps so far. Jamie, who are you looking at? Who has your eye going forward here?
I was actually looking at that dog thinking it could have licked that hot dog off of your face earlier.
Yeah, we have hot dogs.
I would tell you that Ty Gibbs is the one I have my eye on. Had an issue on pit road, got jumbled up, lost 6 spots, but scored his first stage points, Chris, and best finish this year has been 16th at Daytona. He's having an exceptional run. Chase Elliott, though, I think is the guy that you got to keep your eye on for the win today.
All right, trying to win the first race here in 10 years. Denny Hamlin, who's won here quite a bit before. Let's see if he can hang on. Back to the guys in the booth.
Thanks, Chris. Hamlin and Elliott will restart from the front row. Toyota and Chevrolet. The whole top 5 except Chase Elliott are Toyotas. Joe Gibbs Racing had not run a lap with all 4 cars in the top 10 before today this season. So they're having generally a good day. Hamlin, Elliott, Wallace, Briscoe, Bell, Blaney, Larson, Logano, Chastain, Gibbs. Ty Gibbs lost 7 spots on pit road. Tyler Reddick lost 6. Noah Gragson lost 6.
The longer run right there that we had has got this race back sorted out. And what I mean by that, the cream is rise to the top. The 11, the 9, 23 has been good. Bell back to the front with some track position. But how about Blaney? All the way from 32nd, finally established.
And this is what we want to see. We want to see the 9 and the 11 go at it. We think the 9 has a little bit better car, but having a little bit better car in second and getting by Denny Hamlin could be a tall task. Everybody's on even tires.
One back.
Well, anybody who wrote off Ryan Blaney because he started this race 32nd made their decision too soon. Very good strategy has now put him up in the top half dozen, where he dives under Chase Briscoe, trying for a top 5 spot here.
Yeah, and the farther that he's moved his way towards the front, the better that car is going to handle. So,
amen. I like to take off speed out of Bubba Wallace. I'm watching him up there in front of these guys, but I'm telling you, Briscoe, all these boys, they're finally, we've got, I think that long run was definitely a big part of what we're seeing right here. We're going to see another one too.
Briscoe trying to hold off Kyle Larson now for 6th spot.
This will show us one of those no lift shifts that Larry was talking about. Watch, foot on the floor, never lifted. As soon as that thing bumped the rev limiter, went right back into gear. That's time. You know, years past you had to burp the gas just at least a little bit to make that shift. These guys don't have to do it anymore. Coming in hot. Chastain on the bumper of the 5.
You see that one car, go ahead and feed that bumper to the 5 on the entry.
This is the first time since the start of the race that the whole field has been on equal tires. Everybody was on pit road at lap 187. Logano looking for his first top 10 of the season. Did he catch the wall here?
Yeah.
He did.
I think he got moved into the wall. Probably not going to be very happy about it.
Well, you saw him shove the 54 out of the way.
And let's get an update on the cool suit issue for Ty Gibbs.
So unplug your shirt from the cool suit and then plug that to the connector on your shirt and it will drain out the bottom.
Yeah, there's no water coming out. Gosh, I think they just build these things just so they can break on you.
Around goes Riley Herbst down in turn number 1, and that'll put us under caution for the 6th time today at lap 202.
Hard here.
Here's a look at what happened. Oh, 3 wide.
Yeah, you see him up there on the outside. Oh, man.
Herbst around after contact from Austin Sigrid.
He's been away in a disaster all day.
Michael Waltrip took in Reds opening day in Cincinnati Thursday to get ready for Major League Baseball heading to Bristol. The MLB Speedway Classic, presented by BuildSubmarines.com, has tickets on sale now. You'll witness history as the Atlanta Braves face off against the Cincinnati Reds at Bristol Motor Speedway August 2nd, live on Fox. You can go to MLB.com/Speedway Classic to purchase your tickets. We go to Darlington next week, and then we're in Bristol in 2 weeks.
I want to go to that.
Yeah.
Kevin. Let's go. That would be awesome. Look at this. It's so cool. Tell me that won't be awesome. Bristol, we all know that Coliseum is our house, but I think a baseball game will look pretty darn cool.
I was there when they made the announcement and had the field all laid out in the infield, listening to what they had to do. It's going to be a great event. Tell me how fun.
Home run.
Tell me how fun it is.
It's going to be a home run.
I'll be at Hickory.
We hope there's some home runs.
No, I'm going to watch a home run.
Yep. Hot dogs always taste better at the ballpark and, of course, at Martinsville.
You'll choose wisely.
So Josh Berry took the wave around. He's trying to get himself back on the lead lap. Shane Van Gisbergen, there's the WeatherTech cam on board the 88. He is the free pass car, so he will be 34th, last car on the lead lap when we restart.
Bottom, 16, that's 17, go top.
Hamlin and Wallace, 2 Toyotas will be on the front row. The Chevy of Chase Elliott and the Ford of Ryan Blaney.
He has arrived. 32nd where he started.
Just past halfway, 194 laps to go. We're back to green.
Massive jump by Denny Hamlin right there. Bubba Wallace having a little bit of trouble on the outside. Allows almost all of Chase Elliott all the way up beside him for second place.
Second place, nobody can clear, and actually Elliott got a better run up off the corner that time than Bubba on the outside.
Still half. Clear down, clear down.
Elliott cements second place. The first 6 are single file. Then it's Chase Briscoe on the outside, getting passed by Ross Chastain. That's 7th place. Ty Gibbs now outside Briscoe for 8th.
Briscoe lost 2 or 3 spots there as he was waiting for what you heard. Finally clear down, get in line.
Still outside at your quarter. Still quarter. Still bumper.
Drivers working the outside include Gibbs, Ty Dillon, Suarez, Todd Gilliland, Eric Jones, and Noah Gregson.
I've been pretty impressed with how they're able to run this outside line to be able to defend themselves. And
it's funny you said that. I was watching the 9 car and he's entering way high again, trying to set up a pass on Denny. It's not quite there yet, but he is definitely moving around. Kevin, as soon as I heard you say they're running the outside, I looked up and that's certainly where he's at. The takeoff speed of the Bubba Wallace, we saw that when they first had tires on, was really good. Long run speed not quite as good as Elliott's was. That last long run, Elliott obviously ran down Hamlin towards the end of it. Let's see if he can do the same.
Austin Dillon working hard and making the outside work.
Well, I think he's got a really good race car. I think as the we noted earlier, he had a little bit of trouble in the pit stall earlier in the race, losing first gear, but he's been steadily working his way back forward, and you see his brother Ty right behind him in that 10 car. So decent day for both of those cars, but 3 definitely moving forward of Austin Dillon.
Losing first gear, trying to get out of the pits, very challenging the rest of the day.
Michael McDowell just ahead, racing for the Rock. NASCAR returns to Rockingham Easter weekend with the Truck and Xfinity Series, and hope they get a big crowd. Clint, you're going to take the train to the Rock? They got a train running now from Raleigh and from Southern Pines down to the racetrack.
Great idea. Who doesn't like a train ride? Head to the racetrack.
Bubba Wallace in 3rd, a 2.5 seconds back, Jamie.
Well, Mike, it's been another great day and good performance for Bubba Wallace. And I feel like we talk about this team and this driver week in and week out. We heard from him in the pre-show with Kevin Harvick. Well, the man behind a lot of the change this year is his new crew chief, Charles Denight. Got the promotion from the Truck Series. As a matter of fact, he won both of the truck races here last year, but he moved on up. I talked to Charles this morning about making that big move, and he said, with my engineering background, it really helps you jump into the process that they have going over here at 2311. They trust each other. It's a great pairing so far. And, you know, let's just listen to Bubba and his thoughts on his new crew chief.
Charles Denight, he's new to the team, new to the squad, new to the 23 team. So it's a big learning curve for him. He's been so invested at picking up the ball quick and taking it to new levels. Somehow we renewed Freddie Kraft's contract for me personally for the 15th year. My big brother. It's nice to have a familiar voice in your ear. Although it was nice when he got suspended for Phoenix and he wasn't in my ear. So, think about the future on that.
Said with a smile.
Yeah, Bubba and Freddie obviously have a great relationship, but I think when you go back to Charles and the crew chief position, when I did that interview with Bubba, it just screamed confidence in the things and the answers that he had to every single question. It was like, nope, we have more structure. I have more structure in my life. I'm a new dad. I'm into understanding that it takes more work than everything else that I've done in the previous years. So having that routine, structure, organization, and happiness to go along with the situation to make that circle of life right makes this race car go faster. Now, obviously, Charles is doing a great job in putting fast race cars on the racetrack, but that driver believing in the race car and the crew chief and everything about it also makes it go faster.
Ricky Stenhouse, little lock up there as Cole Custer made a hole on the outside and filled it, trying to get around Noah Gregson here. Josh Berry still 1 lap down. They were down 2 with that battery replacement. And got 1 back. Ryan Preece with an issue.
Yeah, you saw the 48 come across the nose of the 60 car right there and ran him over the curb, and it put Preece in a position to now where he's got to defend himself to try to maintain the track position from losing any more.
It's not over yet.
Still middle, get up, just inside only.
Yeah, things are really stacked up back here.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about earlier in the race. Racing at the back of this field is just way more intense than it is up in the front because those guys are able to get strung out and get in a rhythm. Back here, you're just fighting for your life.
Well, there's Josh Berry on the outside, and talk about fighting for your life. I mean, he cannot go anywhere. He was once leading this field at ease. The role has changed.
35th, 1 lap down for Berry. Chris Buescher, 33rd, but on the lead lap. Let's get back up into the top 10 and Regan.
Oh, Mike, update on Ross Chastain running in the 7th position, doing a very nice job today, moving forward and also moving forward on the restarts very nicely. Each restart seems to gain spots. Right now, the car, when he loads the right rear, just a little bit too loose, but something to keep an eye on for this run. Crew Chief Phil Surgeon told me right before the race that strength was the long runs of the car. They felt really good if they could get some long runs in.
Well, he ran his fastest lap just on the restart for this stage. So did Denny Hamlin, our race leader, and so did Ryan Blaney and Chase Briscoe. All ran their fastest lap as we restarted for stage number 3. John Hunter Nemechek on the outside there.
He is having a rough go, struggling out here for grip in his car, holding everybody up, trying to get out of the way and just can't.
Spire Motorsports battle, Justin Haley, Carson Hocevar.
Oh, man. That's a tough way to race your teammate right there. You see Hocevar just go up the racetrack and slam into the side of the 7.
And then gave him a wave after he went by, as in, sorry about that, I think. And they're battling for 21st.
Saw the hood blow up on that 7 car yesterday during qualifying. Went out on the racetrack and blew up over the windshield. Daniel Suarez right here.
Just out of the top 10, 11th place there.
Yeah, I couldn't find him right there. Stumbled on my comment, but we've seen this the last several weeks out of Daniel. Just kind of finds their way up towards the top 10, able to put himself in a position to finish up with a good day.
All right, now instead of taking you to a car commercial, we're going to stay right here for commercial-free racing from Martinsville. We're going to go Toyota all out. With 169 laps to go, riding with Bubba Wallace in 3rd, just ahead of pole sitter Christopher Bell in 4th, Denny Hamlin leading. I like what I heard out of Bubba in your interview there, Kevin. And the thing, you know, Bubba came into the Cup Series and there was always a lot of attention focused on him. And I just got the feeling it was very hard for him to build trust with the people around him and the people supporting him. But what I heard in that interview was a much more confident, as you said, Bubba, who now has full trust in a crew chief, and boy, they're facing forward, they're moving.
Absolutely. You know, when I was driving, I had a very small circle of people. I didn't trust many people other than the people that were around you. And when you finally get that group of people around you, like it seems Bubba has right now with crew chief, owner, and the driver all together, it just gives you that confidence to be able to just let your guard down and be who you are.
Christopher Bell You know, we talked to him in practice. He said, I don't have a very good car. Goes out and wins the pole. He was the 17th driver to time trial. He had to wait and watch 21 more drivers after him take a crack at it. Some came close, but nobody beat him for the pole position.
And they know that they need to be better here. They put themselves in a position not running good last year and got themselves knocked out of the playoffs. So they know how important this race is.
Chase Briscoe just doing what he needs to do. We need some solid finishes out of this group. It's a new group together. Need some confidence to build our program, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. Currently 8, Chase Briscoe.
His kind of racetrack, having a good day. Tyler Reddick, on the other hand, back in 15th place. Usually we see him a lot closer to the front. Maybe this just is not his kind of racetrack.
Yeah, and I would vote for that. And I think that this is just not his kind of racetrack. I don't think that this has been a place where they have stuck out like they do at other places to have that performance that's elite.
But I do believe that they have some room to improve. This is not the start to the season on it. Looking back at Homestead on tracks that he's typically good at, we haven't seen.
Ty Gibbs has had cool suit issues, looking for a top 10 here as he runs in 9th place. 5 Toyotas in the top 10, including 1st, 3rd, and 4th. So thanks to Toyota for providing us with more green flag action here from Martinsville with our Toyota All Out segment.
All right, whoever's led this race drove off from him. Denny Hamlin, no exception. Now it's time to get into lap traffic, and I think that maneuverability in these cars is what's going to determine your winner. Let's see who can do it the best.
Larry, this track has that long green flag run look to it. What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, Mike, I think what's going to happen, they're going to end up splitting this stage in half, which means they're going to probably start coming anywhere north of lap 290 with about 110 laps to go. I think that's the best way to do with the tire fall off that we have. But if you're back in the pack, you may see some unorthodox strategy. You may see them trying to split it in thirds. You may see somebody just try to run long on fuel, trying to catch that caution. But I think the leaders split it in half.
Okay. Chase Elliott's been one of those leaders most of the day. Currently runs in 2nd. He's led 42 laps today. Hamlin's been out front for 116 circuits, by far the most of any driver. Bubba Wallace 2.3 back now.
And I think that the cloud cover, and you see the sun start to pop out as I mentioned that here and there, but I think that the cloud cover has kind of minimized that fall off, Clint. It doesn't seem to be like it's as big of a spread today as it has been in the past. But we also haven't had really deep green flag runs like it feels like we're in the middle of right now. So hopefully we can get deep into this run and really see which cars fall off bad.
It's lap traffic. Every time we catch lap traffic, it seems like we got a caution and the stage has come to an end. This, just like Mike said, feels like a long run, and these lappers get harder and harder. The first ones may be already 2 laps down or a lap down already. They're going to let you by. But that continues to ratchet up as they race harder with each other to stay on the lead lap. It becomes way more difficult, way more of a challenge to make that pass. And that's when everybody catches you.
Joey Logano looking for his first top 10 of the year. Had a bit of contrary strategy early. Got himself up to the front and got himself a win in stage number 1. But here's Logano now in 10th. The second Ford in the race. His teammate Blaney up in 5th. Logano in 10th.
You can tell it's wearing these tires. I mean, look at the sides of these cars. They're a lot more black
wild
on the side of them, a lot dirtier than we've seen in the past. When you look at Denny's car, just keep going down. You can hardly see the numbers on some of them anymore.
Now, all the Hendrick cars qualified in the top 10, but Alex Bowman had to make an extra stop there on pit road, and here he goes a lap down.
Yeah, and I'm really surprised about that. I thought that the speed in that car was pretty good, but evidently, as everything has happened with all of their circumstances, definitely not the day that we expected out of that 48.
William Byron in 12th place here. I think he's the only driver who's led every race this year, and that streak, well, it may come to an end today.
Hasn't really been able to get out of that 12th position land, but time's not up. I mean, look at the rubber on those cars. It's crazy. See Zane Smith running 13th. Pretty strong effort out of the 38 car.
He had a little temper issue earlier, got into a bumper bashing incident with another driver. They traded positions a bit, then everything calmed down.
That's called Martinsville.
Solid run now.
Good. Short track, baby.
Yep. Speaking of bumpers, Michael McDowell in 14th place. We mentioned him a time or two, getting into a dust-up. You can see the results of it there on the front bumper just below the Chevy bow tie. Leader back in more race traffic. This is Cody Ware, who's had a good run here today. He was good in practice. He's stayed on the lead lap to this point.
Well, Chase Elliott has been moving all around this racetrack. You see him entering the racetrack at the top of that concrete. He's going to go under the 51 most likely right here on the bottom. But 2 or 3 laps before this, he was wrapping the curb. So that tells me that Chase is searching around the racetrack for what he needs for his car to get around the corner the best right now. So he's been all the way high on the concrete patch, and he's been all the way against the curb through the middle of the corner.
Well, we saw this exact same thing playing out that last run. As it stage come to a close, he was running them down, and I think his maneuverability building that race car and his driving style of this place, how he enters high and diamonds the corner. See how much higher he enters? Now watch him cut back across this rubber, crosses it, straight drive up off. But that's a tough cookie with a lot of experience and a lot of laps led in front of you that you got to pass. It's going to take lap traffic. Let him catch him. Look at the rubber build up on a track.
That's a great shot right there to be able to really see the darkness of the rubber and everything that changes with this racetrack. And that rubber, you can see it being put down. It'll be picked up. You can tell that the cars that are sliding right there leave a little bit different tire mark through the corner. But this 9 car, it's better than the 11 car right now, Clinton. He can move all over the racetrack. Look at that. Look at all that rubber.
A lot, but it's all over. But right where those right side tires go, that's where it gets the most, and it is like slime. You hit it and the front tires take off, then the rear tires start chattering. Got to get those right sides out of it, find a way around it. You have to cross back over it, much like we're talking about with Chase Elliott. I like how he does that and gets a straight drive off. Look, right to the back bumper at 11. 11 has nowhere to go. These guys are going to start racing each other, trying to stay on the lead lap, making it much more difficult for Denny.
Yeah, and you see 69 laps on these tires, and the deeper that they get into these lap cars, the harder it's going to be for Denny. We haven't seen him move around the racetrack, as you see Casey Mears lock up that tire up on the top side behind these guys, but he hasn't had to move his car around much, and Chase has been back there just messing around with the lines to try to do something different so he knows what to do in traffic.
These 3 cars right here battling. Reddick, McDowell, and Dillon are all battling and using different lines doing it. I love watching this battle, 3-car battle, crossing over, running high, trying to find grip in other places.
The thing that's happening with these cars right now, they're starting to get loose into the corner. So that downshift that we talked about earlier that you do going into the corner, the lap times have slowed down, so your upshift's in a little different spot. You see the door of the 45 go into the left front tire of the 71, trying to finish that pass off. But a lot of these cars are going to start getting loose in the corner, and when they start getting loose in the corner, that's when that right rear tire starts to wear out. Well, you're still naturally probably pretty tight, but you got to take care of that right rear tire as this run goes on.
So now just 29 cars on the lead lap. Chris Buescher is the last car on the lead lap. You're looking from him back at race leader Denny Hamlin. It has been a day with a lot of contact at Martinsville, and there's still 141 laps to go.
throws it in deep, but Harvick's going to hold on.
I see there's a grandfather clock sitting over there, so that'll look. That's yours.
Tick-tock, grandfather clock. And if you're splitting this stage in third, you're on pit road right now, like William Byron and Cole Custer. Regan.
Like William Byron, the 24, a little bit early on this stop, but he started complaining about the front end bouncing about 5 laps ago. Decided to pit a little bit early on this one. Been fighting a very tight race car all day.
Larry?
Yeah, in the garage area yesterday, I talked to probably half the crew chiefs. And on paper, splitting this stage into thirds is the fastest. But what the system doesn't tell you is about lap traffic and being out there with 37, 38 other cars. That's the variable.
All right, Alex Bowman also made a pit stop. And excuse me, that was not Cole Custer. It was Burt Myers on pit road. Now Justin Haley is in. And Cody Ware, having gone a lap down, he's coming to pit road. 131 to go. Eric Jones is going to fall down 1 lap to the leader. He is the 24th place car. Joey Logano looks like he may finally get his first top 10 of the year. This is the deepest a defending champion has gone into a season without a top 10.
Well, they've had the speed to be able to run where they need to be on the racetrack, but you look at Denny Hamlin right here. He has driven away from the 9 car, and that's what we were discussing earlier, was how do we get to the end of this run, and how do these cars perform, and who's going to fall off and who's going to have the handling issues first.
Well, the 9 drove right to him in that lap traffic, and boy, he drove off from him. I'd say 9's looking for a pit stop soon.
Brad Keselowski on pit road, Noah Gragson coming in, and Shane Van Gisbergen.
And typically when these cars fall off, they're done, right? Like you just have to slow down. You don't have an option. That right rear tire starts sliding and starts spinning the rear tires up off the corner. You got to go way slower. So you're going to see a lot of these cars that have that type of issue. But when that right rear tire shuts off, you're in big trouble.
Denny Hamlin's last Martinsville win was here 10 years ago. That race was also the debut of a young driver named Chase Elliott in the Cup Series.
Wow, how about that? But it doesn't surprise me. We're sitting here listening to you tell me about right rear burning off, tire management, taking care of tires. There's nobody on this racetrack still today that does a better job of taking care of their equipment than Denny Hamlin.
All right, Josh Berry just limped into his pit, and we have caution up in turn 4. Van Gisbergen. Lap 275, 7th yellow flag. Of course,
the wheel fell off.
Yep.
Right rear came off.
He had just completed a pit stop and lost the right rear.
Bring it to us, Shane.
Well, there's that. So everyone who just made a stop will take the wave around. Now, as that was happening, Josh Berry came into his pits very, very slowly, made it there, and now pulls out. Berry is 3 laps down. And Cole Custer was slow in the back straightaway, then grabbed a gear and got going again. So.
That's a bad feeling right there.
Yeah, and he had no idea. Usually when you get in a corner, you can feel the car start to squirm around in the back. He had just come out of the pits going straight, so no warning. That tire was never on there.
And I don't know. How can there not be a warning that tire's not on there? A tire carrier, like that changer, he knew that it didn't go on there all the way, or felt something wrong. Maybe an alert, something. Hey, we don't know.
Well, not always.
I know. Yeah. I'm just saying.
So the wheel, you see,
there would be something.
The wheel sits on the spindle, and it's held in place by those pins all the way around. And as long as you don't have sideward motion, you can accelerate, you can brake, you can go fast and slow. And then as soon as you try to turn, whoops, nothing's holding it on.
No, I'm I'm with you. Well, the way that is, and you can see right there, you see those notches in that lug nut right there? That has to go over the pin. We've covered all the time. Larry shows us that. But when that wheel doesn't go on, it's because the pins behind the wheel aren't aligned. It won't let the wheel go down all the way onto the hub. And this is exactly what we're going to show you. That is the keeper. But you see, if it doesn't, that's what happens right there. The wheel's not all the way on, so the lug nut goes tight, but it isn't tight because the wheel's not all the way on. Those pins go into dowel holes on the back of the wheel, and they get hung up in between those holes. And when it does, the wheel doesn't go all the way on. They tighten the lug nut. Doesn't take long, obviously, and that thing will fly off.
Well, I'd be interested to know what the 9 car was battling right there as we got towards the end of that run. He definitely lost a lot of pace with Denny Hamlin.
So, Larry, we're at 278 right now. They were last on pit road at 187. If you intended to split the stage in half, would you just go ahead and come now?
Absolutely, Mike. Absolutely. They'll be coming 4 tires. Make sure it's full of fuel. You can make it from the end here. And I would say if you pit here, if we went caution-free, there's a good chance you won't split this out.
Eric Jones gets the free pass as Denny Hamlin brings the lead lap cars onto pit road. Regan.
Ross Chastain, the 1 car up to 6th place right now, needs help with that being loose into the corners. He can deal with a little tight in the middle, he told the crew chief. And the 9 of Chase Elliott, still a little bit too snug in the middle of the corner, can't turn like he wants to. He did like it better this run, thought they were making progress with it. Jamie?
Denny Hamlin has not had much to complain about today. All positive feedback said the exits are way better. They got the longer run better. He's led 154 laps today. You see 4 tires here. Air pressure adjustment just ahead of him is the 23 of Bubba Wallace. Happy with his car air pressure adjustment. That pit crew right there ranked #1 on pit road right now, Mike.
Thanks, Jamie. Hamlin leads them off pit road. It is a long stop for Cole Custer. They are having trouble, and a little bit of a slow stop there for Chase Elliott. We're under caution with 121 to go. Welcome back to the Cookout 400 at Martinsville Speedway. 118 laps to go. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, celebrating 100 years of an American icon, the Goodyear blimp. They set this track at kind of the bottom of a swale or a bit of a ravine because then they wouldn't have to do as much work to build grandstands on either side as you went up the hill. That's what they did in 1947. They paved it in the middle 50s. They concreted it a couple in the corners a couple of decades later. And here we are.
How's that work for drainage, Mike? Pretty good?
Down the hill. Keep going down the hill.
Keep going down the hill.
Yep. Right. Gravity works. The Earls family houses on the property there at the top. Now camping area on race weekends.
Well, here we go again. Picked all the rubber up off the racetrack. We've seen, well, I mean, everybody's going to be on even tires now. So that loose wheel really throws a wrench into the strategy here, Clint.
Well, that was my point in that. And, you know, it's a bummer. It really is. It's changing the complexity of this race in a big way. And unfortunately, we see it week in and week out. It's not just them and not pinning on anybody. It's you know, we know why. I mean, that's the difference. The crumbs make the difference, and pit road is a huge part of that.
Here's what's around the turn on Fox. The NHRA, quickest and fastest of all motorsports. Right? Just ask Bob Taska III. The Pomona finals are next. And for NASCAR, the Goodyear 400 at Darlington next Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Wait till you see all those great throwback paint schemes. IndyCar, the fastest thing on wheels. So they say they're in Long Beach, April 13th, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. I can add nothing to help resolve that debate. I'm just happy they're all on Fox.
I like that, but I'll fix it. I'm just glad the best racing is on NASCAR over here and these little circle tracks. You know, I mean, I would tell you what, one thing, Ron Capps, my buddy Ron Capps, had a big wreck. Thinking about him, glad to see him get out of that thing. What a stud he is.
All right, Chase Elliott will start back in fourth because his pit stop was 11.7 seconds. He lost 2 spots. Denny Hamlin 9.9. And great stop for Christopher Bell, picking up 2 spots with a 9.8 second stop. So it's Toyotas up front, Hamlin and Bell, Wallace and Elliott, Larson, Briscoe. Chastain is up there, then Joey Logano, Ty Gibbs. That's your top 10 of 24 cars on the lead lap as we're back to green.
Yeah, and you see Bubba Wallace struggle on the outside again. As soon as Denny Hamlin's nose crossed that line going into the restart box there, he took off.
Three Toyotas on point, and Bell trying to get the better of Wallace here for second spot.
And that's the position. He was crowding him a little bit. Bubba's going to let him go. File in on the bottom there. That's that choose cone rule, though. Bell chose the inside, prevailed.
Next, it's 3 Chevys. 2 from the Hendrick camp. Larson on the outside of Elliott, and then Chastain. First Ford in the race is Blaney. He and teammate Logano.
Yeah, we saw Ryan Blaney work his way towards the front of the field. I really thought he would make a little bit more noise than he did that last run, but never really made any progress towards the front any further. Ross Chastain, he's done a good job as you see him on the back.
Look out. Ooh. A lot of blocking there out of the 5 car. Larson, Chastain did not like it.
Nope. 1, 2, 3 going into the corner.
Full taste of his own medicine a little bit. He don't like it the other way.
We've seen these cars run into each other a few times. They definitely put a lot of emphasis on racing each other hard.
Ross got a good car.
Ross took the 5 way up to the edge of the concrete in turn 2.
This would be a good time for the 19 just to let the 5 go. He might
sort it out. He might get 2 for 1.
He might sort out.
Yeah, here, you go deal with this,
yeah,
right?
That's right.
I think that's what Justin Allgaier tried to do on the last lap here last night. He said, yeah, you guys go ahead and I'll pick up the pieces. Unfortunately, he got turned around too.
He picked up the pieces all right. A lot of pieces on the racetrack.
From a lot of cars. All right, Briscoe to the inside of Kyle Larson, who's not having any fun right now. Logano behind them, then Blaney, then Michael McDowell has fought his way into the top 10. Well, fender to fender.
Chase Briscoe, as my teammate at Stewart-Haas Racing, this was always a really good track for Chase. You see it again today. We've seen a couple weeks in a row now where they've put together, hadn't quite finished this race, but last week at Homestead had a nice solid day. Kind of stopped the bleeding on a lot of the things that they had go wrong at the beginning of the year, and so far today have put together another solid top 10 performance.
I like what you're saying there, and I think that's a Gibbs thing. That's a Toyota thing. These Toyotas are strong here. 1, 2, 3 right now. Briscoe running up front. It's been a Hendrick dominated track here in the last few years, and that has changed.
Well, Chase Briscoe has finished top 10 here 5 of the last 6 races. And now he's going to drive away from Kyle Larson, who he's got Joey Logano to his outside now.
He's just struggled all day with the handling of his car. It seems like the rear end is not in the track at all, Kevin. I've watched him. He's been loose in, loose off the corner. Got a pair of Penske cars on both sides of him now. It's just can't really find his groove, find the comfort that he's looking for in that car.
Now Austin Dillon's going after Tyler Reddick. That's for 12th place. And wherever Austin has been all day long, Ty Dillon has been right there with him. There are the brothers. The 3 and the 10.
Oh, man.
Oh, no. Around goes Ty Gibbs. And everybody scatters. Zane Smith nowhere to go.
Here.
And caution waves for the 8th time today. With 103 laps to go. Gibbs was 11th. Ty Gibbs is able to drive away, and Larry, I'm sure for all these crew chiefs, it's head scratching time now.
Yeah, it is, Mike, but I mean, we have 24 drivers still on the lead lap. You may see some guys near the back come. They only ran 11 laps right there. I just think we're getting to that point where track position is going to be king.
Watch how far ahead Gibbs is, but he misses the corner a little bit. He's way on the outside, kind of leaves the door open, goes across back over, and the 45 was there. Unfortunately, got into him, turned him around. But I mean, he was 2 car lengths ahead going in, obviously had some trouble getting it turned back down the hill. I don't know if he was loose or what.
Yeah, and the 45 didn't cut him any slack right there. Kind of got in the back of him, and then the car behind the 45 shoved him all the way through him.
My point is, you don't narrow up 2 car lengths just without something happening. He got loose, had a little bit of trouble, and it was in the 45's lap. Obviously, he turned him around, but I think there was a little bit more to the story.
Here's some audio from Ty Gibbs.
Just free this thing up, please.
Buddy, it's going to be okay.
Keep me away from that little after this race, too.
And Zane Smith, you saw the 38, nowhere to go. Good bit of damage on the front of his car. Everybody scattered, but Ty Gibbs was just right in his lap as he got to the middle of turn 2. Well, you get a minute to catch your breath, and so does everybody else here.
And as a driver, that's good for you because the restarts are intense. Everything that you've done today has just been so intense. So anytime you get a break, it feels pretty good. You want to loosen your belts, take a drink of water, take a deep breath, get everything resituated in the car, and get ready to fire off again because as this race goes, it will get more and more intense. We've got 100 to go.
And pit road is open. Let's see if there's any takers of the lead lap cars. Chase Briscoe feints at it. No.
There'll be some takers towards the end of this thing just because of doing something different. But I like your comment there. Gives you a chance to think about what to do next for a change to give that magical moment to win this race at the end.
Ty Dillon pits from 13th place. He is the first of a half dozen or so cars to come to pit road. I'm going to take you side by side. Who gets to burn down the house today? We'll find out in 97 laps at Martinsville Speedway. Wow, what a season it's been so far. And we're just getting started. Alex Bowman speeding penalty. Free pass to the 17 of Chris Buescher. And we will restart with 24 cars on the lead lap. So a number of those cars that had pitted under green took the wave around but are still a lap down. And that is from Cindric on back. Cindric, Stenhouse, Nemechek, Ware, Keselowski, Gregson, and Haley. All still one lap down. And Bowman under penalty, a lap down. However, of the 38 starters, they're all out there.
Well, this can go a couple ways right here. We can go all the way to the end under green, or it can turn into just a super rough multi-caution race. So you never know how this is going to turn out.
All right, Denny Hamlin, like most leaders today, will take the inside, and Bell inside with him.
Did that last time and it worked, so didn't surprise me to see him try that again.
Moves Bubba Wallace up to the outside of the front row in front of Ross Chastain. Elliott inside, Logano outside. Briscoe and McDowell the top 10.
Yeah, Bubba Wallace has struggled on these last couple restarts on the outside lane, so it'll be interesting to see if he mixes his timing up. Also interesting to watch Denny Hamlin as he comes into the restart zone. Last time he fired as soon as that nose crossed the first line. So does he mix that up or keep it consistent?
Well, maybe that's what Wallace is counting on, a gap between Hamlin and Bell for him to drop in second place. We're about to find out.
Don't sleep on Ross Chastain. It's been a minute since we've seen him this competitive. He's hungry. It's already showing aggression.
We'll restart with 94 to go.
Still there.
Bubba did a little bit better that time. He timed that restart a lot better and going to give himself a chance to be able to get down there in second place. Good job, Bubba.
Chastain fires it in on the outside.
That's going to stack that bottom up, and you said it. Chastain gets a run on the outside of 20.
Can't help but think of Hail Melon, but of course we've outlawed that.
It was still awesome, Mike.
It was.
Like where your head's at.
Once.
He's the only guy here that's ever used fifth gear.
That's right.
That's right. Chase Elliott trying to fight off Chastain here for fourth, and does. Chastain a quick left turn, and that gets him Joey Logano's bumper.
Yeah, and it looks like
stacking him up. Here we go.
Joey's not going to like that. It looked to me like he got himself
around goes Gregson in turn 2. And yellow lights are on.
Well, here we go, guys. We have figured out that this is going to get rough.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Noah Gregson was 28th. Caution at lap 310, the 9th one of the day.
Right here, right here. Right only, it's the right side tire, the right front, right.
Right about this point in the race, they have forgotten what Elton Sawyer told them in the drivers' meeting today.
About respect?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Ricky Stenhouse will, yes, Ricky Stenhouse will get back on the lead lap with the free pass.
That all kind of started watching Larson here, just stacked everything up. He was been out of shape a couple, 2 or 3 different times. Watch how loose he gets up off the corner. All but got him turned around, and it just keeps stacking up behind him.
And when that happens, the reason that it stacks up, ooh, see the 17 car climb over the left rear tire of the 4. But when Larson checked up right there, it stacked that lineup. But then everybody wants to be aggressive to make sure there's no hole to maximize the passes that they can make. Oh my goodness. That was a big shot, Clint.
Yeah, it was. And he heard it slam back down. Going back to Larson, though, I mean, I was watching it started clear back here off of 4 and transpired off of, eventually ended off of 2. But holy cow, these guys are getting after it. Respect. I don't know. I never really, I respected him. I guess you just didn't like him. I liked him Monday, didn't like him Sunday.
Well, Buescher is on the lead lap. Stenhouse will get the free pass. We'll have 25 cars on the lead lap when we restart. Did you see the difference between cars like the front bumper of cars like Gregson, and we saw the 17 Buescher a moment ago, and compare that to Kyle Larson, whose car looks like it just rolled out of the car wash?
Well, or
the extra wax.
That's the difference.
Denny Hamlin's is the one you want to look at.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the difference between racing in the front of the pack and middle back. It is rough. It is not fun. There's nothing about it that middle of the back pack racing is fun.
You can walk around these cars and know what they had for a car. If the back bumpers run over, they were in the way all day. Uh-oh. Just voicing a little displeasure with Gregson.
Yeah, a little.
Probably
I'm not happy
over.
with you. They're both at the tail end of the field here.
Yeah.
The bumper you want messed up is the front bumper at this place, not the rear.
Yeah, I don't
that
think
one's messed.
That one's.
That was Noah showing his displeasure with Buescher running him over.
About another right front tire flat.
Not very often that you see Chris Buescher wound up.
No, and when it is, it's usually. I'm going to say he's right.
Yeah, I guess he did get a little bit wound up at Darlington at Tyler Reddick.
How about next Sunday? It's throwback weekend and the Goodyear 400 at the famed Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. Pre-race starts at 2 Eastern. Green flag at 3. Only on FS1. Going to be tough to pick the best throwback scheme next Sunday.
So fun to go back there, see the throwback schemes, but honestly, it's just a throwback racetrack. I mean, as soon as you pull on the grounds, you just feel like you're in the 1950s or something. Love it down there. Love that racetrack, the uniqueness of it. Wall getting tore up. It's awesome.
It's a racetrack that you go to that hasn't changed, and the shape of it is what it is. The banking has been what it is. The cars are going way faster than the track was designed for. It's narrow, it's very line sensitive, and it's easy to make a mistake. So the lady in black can reach out and grab you at any point.
So what do I hear you guys are going to get to drive next weekend?
Yeah, you might have to just wait and see. How about that? I'm not telling. It's going to be awesome, though.
Boyer kept the cat in the bag. Now there's a first.
I just hope, yeah, it's rare. I hope it doesn't turn out like you and Jeff driving those rental cars.
Oh gosh,
that was the most fun I've ever had on a racetrack, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, HR, Human Resources spent a whole week on the phone after that one.
We don't need to talk about that.
No. Insurance? Who needs insurance? Well, we're at 9. That's the most cautions ever in a 400-lap race here. And that's only been for a couple of weeks, a couple of years, because traditionally 2 500-lappers here at Martinsville. Tyler Reddick not having a fun day.
I'm so tired of these restarts. It does not matter what we do. It just blows. Stay on the top, stay outside for 15 laps, get to the bottom, get past. It's ridiculous. Sucks. Got to shake it off and focus on the next one. Yeah, I'm already there, bud.
Wash, rinse, and repeat.
Welcome to Martinsville.
Yes.
That's what runs through almost every driver's brain throughout this race, because they've been run into too many times, can't go fast, whatever the situation is.
Reddick will restart from 13th. Hamlin and Wallace, again, the 2 Toyotas on the front row. Christopher Bell stays closer to Denny Hamlin than he did on the last restart. That may not give Wallace an opportunity to drop in. Bell is there. Wallace stuck to the outside.
Bubba did a great job of driving in the corner really deep into turn 3, staying on that outside, hanging tough against Bell, trying to get down. Almost had it clear off before that.
Whoa, Briscoe slides up and turns Logano.
Well, here we are, last day to the race, and Joey Logano has done a great job all year long, and it seems like every single time we get towards the end of these races, that 22 car has something that has kept him from getting a top 10 all year.
Here, we'll come on down, put 4 tires on it.
And the only person happy at this is John Hunter Nemechek, who will get the free pass.
All right, so they get stacked up on the inside in front of Briscoe. You see the one car try obviously get in there. I think he touched the curb, clipped that curb a little bit, got loose and up into the Logano on the outside. See Chastain move down, blocks him a little bit, obviously, stacks him up, touches that curb,
you see the
boom,
whole tire,
there it goes. Yep.
Whole left front tire came up off the ground right there as he hit that curb.
Didn't mean to, but doesn't matter. Still spun him out. See how that stacks them up. He's frustrated probably by the one, had his eye on the one, hits the curb, gets loose and wrecks him.
And what happens right there when you hit the curb, you'll see it right here. That splitter is going to climb up and actually take the left front tire off the ground, so that he got up on the curb so hard that the tire actually came off the ground because the splitter was up on top of the curb.
Wrong place at the wrong time, Joey Logano.
Nice job by Michael McDowell of missing all that. He had to be hard on the brakes as Briscoe was stopped. And look at this. For a defending champion, the worst average finish through 6 races. Joey Logano right there with Kyle Larson and Bobby Labonte.
It just keeps being crazy things like that. He's led a crazy amount of laps, stage points, stages, everything in between. Just cannot seem to have the things fall the right way at the end of the race.
Well, right now, the highest Ford in the running order is Ryan Preece in 8th, trying for his 3rd straight top 10. As Ford has only enjoyed 5 top 5 finishes this season, the fewest through 6 races since 2016. And of those 5, Josh Berry has 2 of them.
Definitely not those storylines that you would expect for those stats out of the Fords, but I don't think it's, for the most part, it hasn't been because of performance, right? I think a lot of this has become very much because of the circumstances that they've had to deal with, just like Joey Logano.
Just like we just saw.
Yeah, just like that right there today.
80 laps to go, and through 6 races, here are defending champions who had not had a top 5 finish through the first half dozen races. And that's 3 Hall of Famers and a multiple-time champ. There's one of them, Jeff Gordon, who has 2 cars in the top 6, Elliott and Larson. Byron in 20th and Bowman in 28th, a lap down. Joey Logano, after that spin, will get 4 tires.
So Larry, with all these caution laps, what does this do to us? The more caution laps we run, the more I got to think that these guys aren't going to want to give up their track position.
Absolutely, because they only actually have 15 green flag laps on these tires right now, even though they all pitted all the way essentially back on, you know, lap 301 right in there. So yeah, I think track position is going to be king, Kevin.
There are the trends. Well, Clint, you got your final victory here. Watching Cash run into your arms there as you were going to wind that clock at victory lane. That's a moment nobody who was here will ever forget.
Yeah, it's certainly me. It caught me off guard, to be honest with you. The only thing that's ever choked me up in racing is I looked over and saw that little turd running down the straightaway, and I was like, oh no, this is going to get me, and it did. But special moments at a special racetrack for me. This was always one that I wanted to win at. Got closer, just kept, you know, perfecting my craft here. It was a challenging go at this racetrack. When I first came here, boy, I was a duck out of water. Never forget, I came here the first time we took off. I passed the legendary Tony Stewart, right? Passed him, blew his doors off. I'm like, he ain't nothing. About 25, 30 laps later, he passed me, and not only did he pass me once, about 100 laps later, he lapped me. I learned right then and there the patience and the tire management of this racetrack, Kevin.
Well, I think as we go through today, I mean, you're going to see a lot of those cars that are running up front right now probably not finish there. I didn't have a lot of great days here. I had some good days here. Was able to find victory lane one time, and I didn't have Cash running down the front straightaway. I had Dale Jr. fans waiting at my front gate, wanting to tell me how terrible I was for passing Dale at the end of that race. So, you know, it's a great racetrack, great facility. Just takes a unique style, and I think that my temper probably got in my way as many times here as anything.
Maybe frustration set in
a little bit.
I want to ask you this: who did you pick to win this race today?
I picked Denny Hamlin.
You did pick Denny Hamlin, and I think Denny Hamlin was a really good pick for you.
Our director, Artie Kepner, says he picked you in this race.
Well, he should have, because that hot rod was fast that weekend. Believe it or not, I think didn't it snow? There was some crazy stuff. But looking back at those cars, seeing how low the noses are to the ground. Just a fast car that day. You know what it takes to get here. We were teammates, and I heard you say this earlier yesterday, as a matter of fact. Stuart Haas, we had good cars there, and Custer has a good car this weekend, or had a good car that they brought, and I think that all cascades down, and it still lives to this day. Had a good setup for this place.
All right, so this will be a little different restart with Christopher Bell on the outside of the front row. Speaking of trends, sorry, Larry, didn't mean to leave you out of that conversation.
No, Mike, the 6 races with the Gen 7 car here, the average of the last caution is actually 60 laps to go, but we've had 2 overtime finishes, including this race a year ago. In fact, spring races are known for overtimes at Martinsville.
All right, now Joey Logano, who got spun, will restart 25th. And up front, Hamlin, Wallace, and Bell. Hamlin and Bell on the front row. Wallace in row 2 with the Chevy of Larson. Chevy Toyota third row, Elliott and Briscoe, and the first Ford is going to be Ryan Preece with Todd Gilliland. 9th and 10th. Here we go.
Well, we see Christopher Bell launch right with that 11 car, where we've been comparing Bubba Wallace to the 11 and hadn't been doing as good a job. As you see a huge block right behind him by the 5.
Here comes Bell on the outside.
Yeah, he doesn't want to drop in for second place. He wants the lead.
Trying to get in position on him. Denny runs him up the hill a little bit. That position means you need to kind of have your left front above his right front. Turn him down the hill, take the exit away, Kevin.
Yeah, and if you can do that right, you want to be the one knocking that right front down the racetrack on the 11 car if you're the 20 on the exit. But Denny's doing a great job of kind of feeding that right front tire into his door early in the corners so that he can't pin him down on the exit.
Bubba locked it up, getting into 3 and almost driving into the back of him there.
Front 6 single file. The first side-by-side is Chase Briscoe on the outside of Ryan Preece. That's for 7. Hocevar up the hill, back mid-pack along with Keselowski, but they sort that all out.
Well, both of these guys right here, Chase Briscoe and Ryan Preece, have done a great job this year with new teams. Ryan Preece, as you said a little bit ago, going for his 3rd straight top 10. So great performance at the finish of these races for that 60 and the 19 last week.
Here's that group that was all dusted up in back, but now they're kind of playing nice, all too wide. At the front end of that is Zane Smith, who got caught up in one of the wrecks earlier, not of his own making, and he is going to clear Austin Dillon there. Michael McDowell battling the car he used to drive, now driven by Todd Gilliland. That's for 9th place.
Yeah, and you see right at the back of this screen right here, you see the 54 has caught the 45, and I'm
Yep. Oh yes, hello.
Yeah, we knew that he wasn't happy with him on the radio, so he definitely let him know right there that.
Pettit gave him plenty of room, didn't he?
Yeah, he was still not happy.
This has been a hornet's nest back here for a while. Ever since the rag fell, they cannot get it sorted out. They're out of time. They're desperate. 68 to go. Got to find some track position.
Gilliland to 9th place. Puts McDowell 10th and Blaney just outside the top 10, and Kyle Busch. Hamlin only 2 car lengths on Christopher Bell. He is not driving away.
New approach. Denny told us about it. Wanted to come here with a different setup. He's tired of 2nd and 3rds. I think it's helped everybody it gives. All those cars were faster.
They have all been fast today, and Denny Hamlin has done a great job of keeping control of this race today, and being in control of these races and getting the good restarts and maintaining that control definitely is playing to his benefit today. So he's been able to manage that and keep that as he's gone through the day.
Well, it's been a decade since he's won here, but today is the most laps in a race Denny Hamlin has led in this 7th generation car.
It's unbelievable to think about a decade and Denny Hamlin not winning at Martinsville with all the success that he has had here.
2,500 laps and counting.
He's now led more than half of this race. He's led over 200. The next driver on that list is Chase Elliott, who's led 42 today.
Well, as many laps as Denny Hamlin has led today, I would think that Progressive is probably going to think that they made a great buy on that car. What do you think, Clint?
Timing's everything.
Well, they're on there for what, 18 races?
This is their second race?
Yeah. There's the lap leaders today. And that is all of them. Only 6 drivers have led today. We've had 9 lead changes and 10 caution flags, which is a record for a 400 lap race here. Kyle Busch is making some noise. He and Ty Gibbs have been battling back and forth. Here's a look at it. Tyler Reddick is still hanging pretty close with them.
Well, Kyle had some decent track position to start this race, and they had some trouble on pit road, and that's really been something that we say more than we want to say with that 8 car. If they could have not had the mistake or whatever happened on pit road and kept that track position, I mean, he's got a better car and has been working his way back forward all day.
Well, Reddick's actually driving back up to them. Reddick probably doesn't want to complete this pass because the next one is going to be the 54 car, and that one will probably be a lot more interesting than getting around the 8. Took the exit away, got him loose.
Now they're double wide behind them, A.J. Allmendinger and then Hocevar and Zane Smith side by side. Meanwhile, Christopher Bell has caught Denny Hamlin.
And that's what happens in a lot of these races at Martinsville. You get towards the end of the race and all of a sudden you hadn't kept up with the racetrack, or the racetrack goes through a swing that you hadn't seen all day, and somebody gets hot and starts to make lap time, and their car starts to handle better and have had to work on their car all day. Beginning of this day, think about that first run, Clint. We saw Christopher Bell going backwards. Now getting later in the afternoon, and here we are, Christopher Bell driving right back to the 11 car.
Very easy to get complacent here. I love what your comment there was, but reminiscent of that last run, the 9 car drove to him, and eventually Denny Hamlin wore him out. Be careful if you're Christopher Bell to fall right back into that trap. So you can drive to them, but that Denny Hamlin's car and his ability, his experience to save his tires and take care of them prevails on a long run.
You know, the last time Denny won here, 4 of our Fox announcers were in that race. Regan Smith finished 16th, Clint finished 13th, Jamie McMurray was 10th, Kevin Harvick was 8th. Danica beat all of you guys, 7th. Oh, man. Russell wrote that. He just asked me to say it.
Danica always ran really well here.
Yeah, true. It was also Chase Elliott's debut in the Cup Series. He got a lap or 2 down early, had some kind of difficulty, and they used the whole rest of the race as a test session. Kept coming in, changing things, trying to make him comfortable and get him acclimated. Obviously, that plan worked out pretty well in the long term. Byron, it's like he's been coming from the back of the field all day, time after time after time. Now he busts into the top 20. This pass on Joey Logano will put Byron in 18th if he completes it.
Well, William Byron is one of those guys that Clint and I were talking about this on the way over from pre-race today. We didn't talk about him the whole time in pre-race. We said, you know what, today might be the day that William sneaks up on us because we haven't said a word, but obviously hasn't had everything that he's needed to go his way today. Another car that had some trouble on pit road, got back in the traffic, and has really never been able to break free and work their way forward.
Well, I think those cautions determined that a little bit for him. I mean, it just didn't fall his way, much like you just said, just didn't go his way, right? And once or twice you get behind the 8 ball, next thing you know, you're way behind. And that's exactly what happened to William Byron.
Third looking back at 4th place, Wallace and Elliott.
Quarter.
Meanwhile, Blaney has worked his way up into the top 10 going forward. When Blaney won here last fall, he didn't start up front, but boy, he was passing cars. In fact, for about the first half of that race, he was the only driver who was consistently moving forward through the field. Taking a long time to get there today after starting 32nd. But here's Blaney in the top 10.
I want to just ride here. I'm watching Chase Elliott. I'm watching Bubba Wallace. I'm watching Bell as Bell looks to the outside and cross over to the leader of Hamlin. But I want to ride. What I mean by that is I'm waiting on the leader. I want to save my tires and wait on Denny Hamlin to catch these leaders, or excuse me, lap cars, and then pounce on him. when he starts to get there, you have to apply more brake. You're harder on your equipment. Trying to pass those cars is harder for that leader. But Bell's not going to wait. He's there and he's trying.
So you can see it's almost a straightaway to the lappers. And John Hunter Nemechek right now, the last car on the lead lap in 26th. Jamie?
Well, Denny Hamlin in the start to this year, you know, he's had some adjusting to do with his new crew chief, Chris Gale, on top of the box. Chris, of course, was with Ty Gibbs the last few years, but they got paired up. And yes, they ran a couple Xfinity races together back in the day, but it's been hit or miss so far for them. They finished 20th and they finished top 10. 20th, top 10. Last week, their best effort. I walked up in the hauler this morning, talked to his crew chief, Chris. He goes, oh, I'm well aware that my driver has not won here in 10 years. We're going to try to change that. They've really focused on the long run speed of this car, Mike, but he has had about 0 complaints, very little, if anything, wrong with this car today.
That's right. Not much to complain about. No. There's a lot of...
He's had a great drive.
Clean
and I'm sure
in front of you.
Chris Gabehart was an incredible leader. I mean, it must have been quite an adjustment for Denny Hamlin to have a new crew chief with Gabehart moving into a management role at Joe Gibbs Racing this season.
Yeah, and I don't know that was Denny's call, right? So I'm sure a little bit of nerve-wracking situation there, not knowing exactly what you're going to have, but turns out doing just fine. He told us in the pre-race pretty happy and confident with what he's seen so far, Kev.
16th here.
Yeah, you see Kyle Busch up on the outside of Joey Logano right there, and we saw this earlier in the race. Kyle would move up to that second groove, and right now it looks like Joey's gonna get the pass done. Joey's got a little bit fresher tires than Kyle. I forgot about that part.
Yeah, Joey stopped at lap 320. Busch lap 279 along with most of the field.
Well, this is where we saw Denny Hamlin drive away last time, Clint, from the 9 car of Chase Elliott. When he started to catch lap traffic, we see a couple of lap cars that we've had to work through right now. Can he do the same thing to Christopher Bell as we're going through traffic?
And I think that answer is yes. And I would say I dictate that answer, or me saying that, my comment is off of how I'm watching Denny Hamlin just conserve his tires. He's really not slipping around. You know, I'm watching Bell push pretty hard behind him. He slips some tires, getting into the corner, up off the corner, trying to run him down and hold pace with him. Whereas Denny is just kind of cruising out there. So when they get in lap traffic and he's got a call on it a little bit, it doesn't hurt his tires and affect it quite as much. Got a little reserve built in the tank.
So you think that the 11 car is actually pacing himself, saving his tires?
I've watched it on the lap times. Bell will catch him at a flat. Denny Hamlin will be like a 08 or something, and then the next lap around, Hamlin will be at a 95 at his 12. He's keeping him right where he wants him.
So they passed Casey Mears here and Cody Ware, but it's going to be a while before they get to lead lap cars, almost a straightaway ahead.
There you go. You can see the lap times right here. Just keep an eye on those. And as Denny catches up, well, I mean, they're both in clean air right now, not a lapper, but as they catch them guys, that's, in my opinion, who can get through traffic is always who's going to win this race.
Well, look right there. We passed 2 cars, and what was a 1 or 2 car length lead is now 4 or 5.
Timing is everything, though. As your leader, as you catch those lappers, you know they're coming, and try to time that where you catch them in the right place where it doesn't slow you down. We have to hit the brakes or hinder your line one bit.
Larry, what's caught your eye about Denny Hamlin's drive here?
Yeah, I've been watching this for about the last 6 to 8 laps, and Denny just picks the throttle up later than Christopher Bell and Bubba Wallace. He lets the car roll. He can be more distinct with the throttle because he's waiting on it a little bit.
Patience.
So hard.
Well, that's what I was talking about, is just being easy on those tires. As you let it roll around that corner more and more, less brake getting in and let it roll around there. Now you're not asking as much out of it, trying to pull that boat out of the hole, if you will. It's just way easier on the tires because you're out front and can do that.
That's a hard thing to do, and that was one thing that I always struggled with here at Martinsville, was being able to let that car roll just a beat past the center of the corner and be able to apply the throttle. I always wanted to roll the center fast, apply partial throttle, And that really tears the back tires up as the car is wanting to drive off the right rear tire and rotate. Letting that car roll past the center and get to that throttle, let the car get pointed, and driving that car off consistently straighter and straighter just allows you to save those tires.
But when you do that, you have to change something, and your roll speed is what you change. Your roll speed in and through the center over to about that 5/8 mark of the corner is where you have to roll faster around the corner, because you're not picking the gas up as soon as you were, so something has to give. Pick up your speed and find it in the first half, give up a little bit on the exit where you're not so hard on the tires trying to spin.
So we're 35 laps to go. You've got what you've got. What does Christopher Bell have that he can use to apply to Denny Hamlin? I mean, what can he do differently from what he's doing right now?
Exactly what he's doing. Be patient. That's what I said about 10 laps ago. I want to ride here. I'm watching the lap times. You're not going anywhere. When you get into lap traffic, eventually that lap traffic's going to be door to door. Won't be anywhere for Denny to go. That's when you got to be ready, and your tires have to be ready. Still have to have something in the tank to pounce on him if that opportunity presents itself.
And search around the racetrack, right?
Yep.
A little bit on the bottom, wrapping the curb. Little diamond, move up the racetrack on entries. While you've got some space, try not to lose any time and see if you can find something that'll wake your car up.
Larry, 32 laps to go. What do you got left in your playbook?
Well, I know what these crew chiefs are doing down there, Mike. They are thinking about what if that caution comes out. Remember, with a tire that didn't have as much give up as this tire has 1 year ago, 90 laps on their tires, the caution came out to put us into overtime. We only had 13 drivers on the lead lap. The top 9 stayed out, but we did have some get forward tires. But this is a tire that has a much more give out. So trust me, they're walking through all the what-if situations.
And Larry, we've watched this year. It isn't going to be an easy answer. If this caution comes out, it'll be at the worst possible case scenario and put the pressure on you.
Yeah, 26 cars on the lead lap.
Well, we've seen track position work itself out for some of these guys as you've gone through the day. But the kicker in that, we've run a lot more laps on this run than when some of those guys put 2 tires on and no tires. So you just never know. Some people are willing to gamble more than others, but if you're in the way, you're going to be in big trouble with old tires.
Yeah, this is almost a 100-lap run right now. Now here's Denny Hamlin closing in on the last car on the lead lap. That's John Hunter Nemechek in the 42. And Nemechek not going to make it easy on the leader, is he?
No, you want to do everything you can to keep yourself on the lead lap. So you definitely have something to race for. I think as you definitely don't want to be the guy that does something to the leader that causes him to have trouble, but you got to race as hard as you can to just in case that caution comes out.
And Bell closes right in using a lapped car as a pick. Got close there for a while as Nemechek battles. 26 laps to go. He's in 26th place. All 38 starters are running. And if we complete it this way, it'll be the first time in the 154 race history of Martinsville Speedway that every car was running at the finish. And we're not going to get there. Geez, just as I said that, they push Austin Cindric to the garage because the Penske team is out of batteries.
Wow.
Well, they obviously were doing something different here, right? This 2 Penske car, you don't run out of batteries, and
that's a first for me.
Yeah, well,
I've been around this a long time and we're parking it because we're out of batteries.
I mean, that looked like a proprietary lithium-ion battery, and the connector that may not be shared. It's not like you can just go down to the local Advance Auto Parts and get one.
So what you're saying is you can't put it on. You can't put it on trickle charge and get it charged fast enough to keep.
You can't go to Menards and buy another one.
By tomorrow.
Apparently.
By tomorrow, maybe. Tough break for Austin Cindric. Okay. The string continues. 23 to go.
Denny Hamlin's really starting to stretch it out, just exactly like he did to Chase Elliott that last run.
And that's another strength of Denny Hamlin. He's able to look ahead and picture what he has to do in traffic and has a plan when he gets there and able to execute that with his car in a quick amount of time. And the way that he drives that, it allows him to get position on guys easier than the way that guys like me would roll through the center of the corner fast. It just made passing more difficult when you did it that way.
Now the cars at the tail end of the lead lap are pretty well strung out as we watch Joey Logano and Tyler Reddick fight for 13th here. Some of the other cars more than a lap down, but there's no really lead lap battle for Hamlin to contend with as he works through the lappers here. Probably not until he gets up into the area of, say, William Byron, Daniel Suarez back about 21st, 22nd, and they're half a straightaway ahead of him right now.
And as a driver, you in Denny Hamlin's position, you just know you're kicking their butt right now. You're working your way through traffic. You're in a rhythm. And the only thing that you can think about is, I hope a caution does not come out.
1000%.
How many laps are left? And you don't want to ask on the radio, so every once in a while you'll glance over at the scoreboard and try to take a peek at the lap count so you can figure it out, because you don't want your guys on the pit box to think that you're nervous about that happening, because as soon as you would ask, you know that caution is going to fly.
Well, it was harder at the old Martinsville back in the day before they built grandstands in 3 and 4. That scoreboard sat right in turn 3, and so going down the backstretch, you couldn't ignore it. And you knew how many laps were led all the time.
It was that way at Bristol, too, when they put that new pylon, you know, the big Jumbotron in the center. They got rid of that old school lap count and like I think it was the top 5 getting into 1, man. That was a tell-all. You could glance up. You didn't have much time to breathe, but you could glance up and see that. You can't look over and see the Jumbotron.
Nope. I knew where every scoreboard and lap counter was at every racetrack because you didn't want the team to think that you were worried about how many laps are left or what was going on.
The only track that still has a scoreboard like that is they put one up just like the old one at North Wilkesboro in turn 3. Hamlin legging it out. Bubba Wallace closing in on Christopher Bell for second place now. There is the gap with some traffic ahead to deal with. 16 to go.
Here's your 66.
Larry?
Yeah, Mike, the biggest thing that they're telling Denny Hamlin, not so much how many laps to go, how many lap cars are between he and Christopher Bell that's in second. That's the biggest thing they're telling him right now.
That number right now is 3.
And growing. Denny Hamlin has stretched it out just exactly like he did last time. Saving them tires.
Second's going to be the battle. Bubba Wallace closing on Bell right there, and they're going to get into the thick of those 3 cars and have to get by them.
Well, Bell's car looks to me a lot like what I was just describing in making it tough to pass. When you charge in and roll to and through the center fast, that was what it looked like when he was behind Denny Hamlin. So Denny just sliced his way right through this traffic, but when you have that style like we're talking about, it makes it more difficult to make passes and set them up correctly.
Because you can't get off the corner.
That's right.
Watch Bubba Wallace starting to diamond the corner, going to cross back over, and he's going to beat him up off the corner on the exit. When you wrap that bottom, your tires wear out. Look out.
So now 4 lapped cars separate 1 and 2, and there goes Burt Myers. We're back to 3, and now it will be 2 as they pass the 35 of Riley Herbst.
That was patience on Bubba Wallace's part. He could have made that pass right there. Bell blocked him. Showed a lot of poise right there, a lot of patience. He could have moved him out of the way.
Chase Elliott is catching Bubba Wallace. The lead may not be in doubt as he passes Eric Jones, but second, third, and fourth is heated up here.
All that ebb and flow of traffic and how you catch them and how long it takes you to get by. And when Christopher Bell is having trouble, it's bringing Bubba to his bumper, but it's also bringing the 2 guys behind Bubba Wallace closer to him as well.
Elliott and Larson closing in. Chastain 6th. Priest trying to continue his string of top 10s, which would be the first time he's had 3 of them in a row. Then Briscoe, Gilliland, and Blaney in the top 10.
Yeah.
Logano just outside.
And you mentioned Gilliland right there. Todd Gilliland is having a great day. I mean, and like Clint, you were saying, this long run right here, that's legitimate. Like that's legitimate top 10 speed to be able to put yourself in a position to finish 9th today purely off the performance of your car and
that's
the
a great run
ability inside the car.
Yeah, love it.
Second place, Wallace is there. Haley to the outside, a lapped car. And Elliott filling up Wallace's rearview mirror. 8 to go. Now 7.
You're clear. 9 following you through bottom on your bumper. Once you get clear, you drive away. Hit your marks.
And this is definitely the longest run of the race that we've had so far. So these guys they're struggling.
And
they're struggling inside the car with the looseness and the tightness and everything in between that we've talked about.
I'm glad you said that, and it's by far the biggest lead we've seen all day long too. The only thing that's going to outrun that 11 is a caution.
3.5 seconds for Denny Hamlin on Christopher Bell. There's the lead, and second, third, fourth, fifth. Very close.
Well, Denny's put a straightaway on him, and when we go back and talk about Denny Hamlin and you talk about Chris Gabehart going to be the competition director and Chris Gale coming over to be Denny's crew chief, Denny Hamlin doesn't get enough credit for how good he is in this race car, but he is obviously a leader of this team, and being able to work with these guys to put themselves in a position to go out and get better every week, come to a racetrack where we expect these guys in the 11 car to run well, but they brought a new setup. They wanted to make their car better and put themselves in a position to go out and figure out if they could do this and dominate.
A lot of nervous energy up on that pit box. 3 laps to go. Joe Gibbs Racing has 1-1-2 finish here.
He knows it too. Look at him.
It came 15 years ago when Hamlin finished first and Logano second. 2 to go.
Smooth sailing. Bring it home here.
Well,
this
Denny,
white flag cannot come out fast enough.
Yeah, and Denny has just done a great job all day, putting himself in a position to keep control of this race and take this white flag as the biggest relief he's seen all day.
And keep an eye on second, third, and fourth. Not quite close enough to contend. Bell, Wallace, Elliott separated a little bit apart. Here comes Hamlin.
It's been a decade, Mike.
Yep, the short track specialist from Chesterfield, Virginia. Denny Hamlin delivers. He comes off turn 4 and wins the Cookout 400 for his 55th career victory. Christopher Bell, Bubba Wallace.
Way to go, Chris Gale.
Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, the top 5.
Great job, man. Great job. Put on a class there at the end, taking care of those tires.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Denny Hamlin ties Rusty Wallace for 11th on the all-time Cup Series win list. He's the 5th different driver to go to victory lane this year.
Hard to believe, out of all the laps led, all the success that he's had, that it's been that long since he's been in victory lane, but it doesn't matter anymore. We have fixed that problem. Gen 7 no more. This is the one that was elusive to him, is winning in this race car at this track. Got it. Dominant fashion.
It's Hamlin's 15th career short track win, and that is second among active drivers.
Bubba Wallace, another great day for that 23 car. Continues to impress. Elliott, strong finish.
Toyota 1, 2, 3, Chevy 4, 5, 6. Ryan Preece is the first Ford in 7th. And finally, Joey Logano gets a top 10.
How about that?
Yeah.
First one of the year.
He made some great ground there at the end of the race as you see Denny Hamlin start to burn the back tires off of this progressive Camry.
Great top 10 for Todd Gilliland. Ryan Preece, can't say enough about him and that new opportunity. Another top 10.
Yep. Chase Briscoe had a good day, 9th.
Needed, much needed.
Yep. 4 Toyotas, 3 Chevys, 3 Fords in the top 10.
Plenty of tire left. Saved it all for his burnout, Kev.
That's the best place to burn it down. They're already paid for you, so you might as well get your money's worth.
It's the 15th Martinsville win for Joe Gibbs Racing. 3rd on the all-time list behind Hendrick Motorsports and Petty Enterprises.
That's at least that's an awesome burnout, Kev. They have to get out of the way, get the sweep truck out of the way. He might make a lap.
They told him, don't hit the stage. You're going to need to climb up on that in a minute.
Kyle Larson did this a few years ago here, and I think he's going to make it, Kevin. That's how much tire he saved. Can he do a lap?
Not quite, but far enough.
Not quite. I'm impressed.
And there'll be a discussion here. Tyler Reddick and Ty Gibbs had a lot of contact during today's race. But you know, you got to work that out because you got to race them next week.
Yeah, I watched that back, thought about it. I don't think it was definitely wasn't on purpose. He ran him down very fast. It was kind of in your lap and got into him and wrecked him. But it doesn't make you feel any better. You got wrecked, you got spun out, you're still going to be bummed. Thumbs up's probably all you're going to get out of me. I'm going to the house.
Yeah.
Talk to you Monday.
Always a tough discussion.
The good thing is they're talking about it.
At least
That's
he went
right.
over there and handled it.
A Toyota sweep of the first 3 positions. Denny Hamlin beats teammate Christopher Bell and Bubba Wallace.
Fire.
23-11.
Say it's a rubber fire, probably underneath the fender wells. Been a long time since you've seen that much rubber build up on the sides of these race cars. I like this soft tire.
Hendrick Motorsports favored here. Ends up 4th and 5th with Elliott and Larson.
Maybe put the fire out, Kev.
Ross Chastain 6th.
I would definitely tell somebody that it's on fire.
Might have Jamie bring the fire.
I will listen to Denny's podcast this week. This ought to be a good one. Really?
He was headed in such a good direction.
Everybody liked him this time.
Jamie.
That's right. There's so many applause. People are happy for Denny Hamlin. What a burnout, first off. But Denny, it's been 10 years since you've been to victory lane here at Martinsville. How were you able to come back like that and dominate, leading more than half the race here?
You know, Chris Gale, all the engineers, the pit crew, everybody really on that wall right there, just deciding that they were going to come here with a different approach than what we've been over the last few years. And it was just amazing. The car was great.
His daughter's joining him.
It did everything I needed it to do. Just so happy to win with Chris and get 55. It's awesome.
How about Chris Gale? You had the same crew chief in Chris Gabehart for so many years, Denny. Making that transition, how have you guys been able to figure it out as quickly as you have?
Yeah, I mean, he's been, such a soldier to come in here to this 11 team and, kind of learn our style. And then over the last few weeks, just putting his final touches on it. It's really been a great mesh. Our relationship's getting better and just, man, really happy to get a win with him. And obviously back here in Martinsville where I spent so many years racing late models and whatnot, gosh, I love winning here.
Denny, you got out of your car and you held up that flag and it says 11 against the world. What is that all about?
Well, my buddies, my Ohio State fans that I hung out with at the end of last year, we always had the Ohio State against the world, so now it's 11 against the world.
There you go. Denny Hamlin wins at Martinsville.
Well, Christopher Bell comes home in second place today after starting on the pole. Nearly a complete weekend, Christopher Bell. It was seemed like it was really good until the end of that long run. Maybe just lacked a little on long run speed.
Yeah, I don't know. We were back and forth on balance a little bit, and I asked to be freer throughout the whole race. And then that last run, I just went a little bit too loose and lost my drive off. So, it was a great weekend for Joe Gibbs Racing. Obviously, showed a lot of pace. All 4 of the cars were really good. Really happy to kind of get back up front. The last 2 weeks have been rough for this 20 team. So proud of all of our partners at DeWalt, Toyota, Joe Gibbs Racing, and really happy for Denny. And yeah, he's the Martinsville master, so second to him's not that bad.
You mentioned this racetrack and having a good day and everything like that. This is an important race as we get further into the season, so some good takeaways at least as you get to the championship run later on?
Yeah, I think so. It's, I don't know, I felt really bad at the end of the run there. Obviously, I was falling pretty far back behind Denny, but I think qualifying really good was a big part of our success this weekend, and hopefully we can come back a little bit better in the fall and, you know, be able to have a nice solid day like we did today. So everyone executed really well. Thank you to my pit crew. They did a great job. You know, the car was amazing in qualifying, got us that #1 pit stall, which was a big part of our success today as well. So we did the details right, and we came home second.
Nice run, thanks.
Joe Gibbs gets a 1-2 finish at Martinsville, winning the Cookout 400. Here is a look at today's big move, sponsored by Pods. And it is Denny Hamlin's pass for the win inside the last 80 laps of this one.
Yeah, we saw Christopher Bell fire on that restart and get a good launch and at least give Denny a battle for a couple laps. But finally, Denny was able to put himself in a position to get good drive up off the corner and clear Christopher Bell going into turn 3.
And let's join Regan with the third place finisher.
Well, Mike, Bubba Wallace continuing to stack good runs together. Bubba, this team has a lot of momentum going right now. Seems like you're just continuing to improve and improve right now.
Yeah. No doubt. Sorry, nose run. Working up in there. Well, a good day, nonetheless. I'm just trying to scratch my head on what I could have done different. My restarts were terrible, and it's one of my best traits, so need to go back and study that. But what a great day, continuing to rebound from the start of our season. Super proud of our group here on the 23 team. McDonald's Toyota Camry was fast all weekend. I think that final restart, I let second get away. I don't know if I had anything for Denny, but it would have been fun to try. But all in all, hell of a day for Toyota. Top 3, that's nice. So we'll keep the momentum going. Having fun. It's fun to have fun.
It's always good to have fun. Congrats. Jamie?
Chase Elliott led 42 laps today, brought it home 4th. Good effort, considering I know a lot of people are looking at you maybe to win this thing, Chase, but how was the car overall, and how did things change as the race went on?
Yeah, I thought our car was really good, honestly. Thought everybody on our Napa team did a good job yesterday, you know, leading into the weekend, and then certainly, you know, getting this thing where it needed to be, I thought, for a balance, you know, for today. So yeah, all that was really good. Just needed control of the race. You know, I really needed to get to Denny there at the end of that second stage and try to get control. I knew the second half everybody was going to be better and closer, and you know, just that little bit of being able to control this thing from that point forward means a lot. And unfortunately, I didn't do a great job getting to him. I was trying and just came up a few car lengths short. And yeah, it just puts you in a tough spot trying to play catch up and whatnot. But yeah, it was a solid day. We need more than solid, so we'll keep trucking.
See you in Darlington. Mike?
Thanks, Jamie. Boy, Denny Hamlin's 55 wins have come with 7 different crew chiefs. And you know, over the last decade, I think we've kind of had a chance to kind of go to sleep on how really good Denny Hamlin is at this racetrack.
Well, he's really good at this racetrack, but I think he's proved to a lot of people that he can go to a different crew chief and be that leader to help progress a race team to keep them in winning form. So today he did that at what we would consider his best track.
Well, I think he led the charge with Gibbs, Joe Gibbs Racing. He wanted to be better here. He came back. He wasn't satisfied with that second, third place. He came back here with a different setup, and I think that cascaded down for a better effort for everybody at Joe Gibbs Racing.
Well, a lot of contact, a lot of cautions, and we'll move on to Throwback Weekend in Darlington, South Carolina, next Sunday. Next weekend, practice and qualifying, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time Saturday on Prime. Sunday, NASCAR race day at 2 on FS1, and the Goodyear 400 at 3 p.m. Eastern Sunday on FS1. Coming up next, the NHRA Finals from Pomona as Denny Hamlin celebrates in Martinsville.
the top of the mountain, climbed all the way up and never looked down. If the road wasn't rough, we might not have found the blood and some guts and thousands of hours. We welcome you now to our arena. If you don't know right now, it's hard to beat us. You can
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.